Shalom Israel, Shalom, Shalom. Brother Naquam, watchman for Israel, coming back at you with these precepts and another cold cut, giving, of course, our honor and our glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashim Mashiach, Malak Yabushai, double honors to the elect elders of the house of David that's been in this truth for decades and decades, patiently waiting for the second coming of Mashiach, Malak Yabushai. A hearty, mighty Shalom to all of the mighty men of the Most High God who are out there on the highways and byways, pushing this truth, magnifying the ministry, presenting their bodies as a living sacrifice, and enduring all things for the elect's sake. Shalom, shalom. Shalom to all of the men that may not be out there on the highways and byways as of yet, but they're working on it. They're getting built up in the spirit. They're praying, they're fasting, they're studying, they're being diligent and abounding in the work of the Lord. Shalom, shalom. Shalom to all of the Akwath out there, the sincere sisters out there, holding it down in the households, reverencing their husbands, being submissive and diligent, and moving in the spirit of our righteous foremothers. Shalom, shalom. Shabbat shalom to everybody tuning in live. Slakia Ray, T. Sellers, Yakar Salah, Shalom King, Richard Perez, Yafei Israel, Ephraimite Ak, Luigi B, Yolanda Caesar, D. Rivers, Nigel Blend, Yasha Allah, 12 Yakad, Tupuak, Michael Israel, Divine in Nature, Elijah Jones, and everybody else tuning in and that will tune in on another beautiful Shabbat through the spirit and power of Yahweh by Shema Mashiach Malak Yabushai. As we approach the end of the world, as we're looking at the times hasten towards the second coming of our Lord Hamashiach Malak Yabushai, as we witness the downfall of Babylon the Great, we see prophecies unfolding. You got terrorists attacking Russia. You got people saying the CIA is behind that, right? You got people saying Ukraine is involved. You have France inching and pushing towards World War III. You got Russia says we want World War III. You got troops of Babylon, United States troops actually stationed in Taiwan and around Taiwan permanently, right? There's a lot of prophecies unfolding, right? So we're going to go into some prophecy. Abaddon, the king of the bottomless pit, World War III secrets unlocked, right? Abaddon, the king of the bottomless pit, and World War III secrets unlocked. And this is in wake of major prophecy that you see going on in the earth between Russia and NATO, right? Russia and NATO will be integral components of World War III, right? Now, this is from Reuters, March 17th. Putin warns the West a Russia-NATO conflict is just one step closer or one step from World War III. And World War III has been trending on multiple social media platforms over the past week. It's been one of the number one trending topics. If not number one, it's definitely top 10. Everybody's talking about World War III, from politicians to your local news anchor to the men of the Lord, right? To people of the world, right? They're talking about World War III. Now, if Russia and NATO do indeed get involved in a conflict, it's not a matter of if, like we always say, man. Right? World War III will definitely happen, because once Russia gets involved, then China's going to get involved. Iran is going to get involved. Once NATO gets involved, then the entire European continent will be involved in a global war, man. Right? And that's going to be the beginning of the end. And the final battle is going to be in Armageddon. Right? So Europe being involved in World War III is a Bible prophecy. Not only can you read about Russia in the Bible, you can also read about NATO in the Bible, right? The Most High speaks of these kingdoms. Did the Most High speak of ancient Egypt, the Babylonians, the Assyrians, the Medes, the Persians, the Greeks, the Romans? Every major kingdom was prophesied in the Bible, man. How much more of these last great kingdoms that are going to be on the earth? And these are the last kingdoms that are going to be here, but before the return of our Lord, man. Right? This is Job chapter 14 and verse 5. Seeing his days are determined, the number of his months are with thee. All right, let me make sure this is showing. Okay, come. Thou hast appointed his bounds that he cannot pass. And the so-called white man's days are determined, meaning the Heavenly Father put a limit on how long this man is going to be able to rule. He will not rule for eternity. He will not rule until the year 3000. He makes these movies of space exploration and Star Trek and all of these futuristic movies about him living in the earth in a year damn 4,000. Right? His days have been determined, and his days are approaching its end. Right? The Most High has put every kingdom on the timeline. There was a set day when the Egyptians would fall. There was a set minute when the Assyrians would fall, right, by Axes and Nebuchadnezzar. There was a set time when the Babylonians would fall, right, by the hand of Cyrus the Great. So you have a set time for every major kingdom to fall, right? The number of his months are with thee. So the Lord got it down to the month. Believe it or not, the Most High, he got it down to a second, right? Right? Remember, the Most High said he has angels prepared for an hour. Really, it's talking about the missiles, right? But I want to get this quick precept. Revelation 9:15, and the 4 angels were loosed, right? Now, these angels, they're going to work on the minds of the people to launch these missiles, which were prepared for an hour and a day and a month and a year for the slated third part of men. So the Lord, not only are the number of months calculated for rulership and particular works, it says the year, the month, the day, and the hour, and the minute, and the second, man. The Lord has this thing down to a science, to a T, right? So, these things are ordained before the foundation of the world. So it says the number of his months are with thee. Thou hast appointed his bounds so he cannot pass. So the Most High is looking at his time of longevity and the boundaries of lands that he has been given. And he's been appointed certain bounds, right? So Russia has their boundaries. They can't push past that. Europe has their boundaries, right? They have Italy, they have Greece. They go as far north as, Denmark and Sweden and Norway. America has their boundaries from the Pacific Ocean to the Atlantic Ocean, right? Every nation was given the bounds of the Most High, right? That goes back to Deuteronomy chapter 32. The Most High set the bounds of the people, right? And you see the nations, they're in their final boundaries, man, right? Deuteronomy chapter 32 and verse 8. When the Most High divided to the nations their inheritance, when he separated the sons of Adam, he set the bounds of the people according to the number of the children of Israel. And originally, after the flood, that's what the Most High did. He gave the Hamites the so-called continent of Africa. He gave the children of Shem, Mesopotamia, the Middle East, right, and Far East. He gave the children of Japheth parts of Europe, and the Isles. But even now, the Lord set the bounds of the people, man. And right now, these nations, NATO is pushing and trying to prevent Russia from expanding the bounds. But it's up to the Most High, man. When you look at a map of NATO, and we'll pull it up, NATO goes as far as Ukraine, Romania. That's about far west as they go, man. And Russia is pushing. So they're trying to overthrow the bounds that the Most High has given them. And it's going to lead to global conflict between NATO and Russia, man. Right? Let's go to 2nd Ezra chapter 6. Right? 2nd Ezra chapter 6. And once that conflict kicks off, however the Most High allows it to happen, it will be the beginning of the end. Well, really, we're already at the beginning of the end. It's going to be approaching the final stages of this man's kingdom. Right? This is 2nd Ezra chapter 6 and verse 9. For Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth. Right, so the end of the world is going to come by the hands of Esau. But Esau are the Russians, man. They're the Edomites. The people of NATO, they are the Edomites. You got even politicians asking for the so-called white man to be stripped of his power. See if I can find that real quick. White people, because everybody knows that the world is ending by the hands of him. Let's see, stripped of power. All right, let me see if I can get that. You see that? This is from, we'll pull up the Sioux County radio, right? UN Secretary General, Youth Climate Advisor, calls for whites to be stripped of power and revolutionary rights. So you even have, and this is I believe, who was this? Advisor. Yeah, this was an Elamite, man. Now she could be an Israelite, scattered abroad, but we don't know, right? But right now she's coming off as an Elamite, but she's even shouting against the so-called white man and saying that every so-called white person, they should be stripped of their power. So you're in the end of this man's kingdom. I mean, when did these other nations feel such boldness to speak against the so-called white man? I thought the Indians, actual India, I thought they was enslaved under the Britons, man, for decades and decades. But now you got them speaking up against the so-called white man, and he said they should be stripped of their power. Why? Because Esau is the end of the world, right? And the Most High has all of these nations chasing him off the earth, man. He's putting these Edomites against each other in the last days, right? This is Job chapter 18 and verse. I'm gonna start at verse. Bear with me, right? Salaki, I'm gonna jump up a little bit, right? So this is Job. I'm gonna start at 18 and verse 12. It reads, "His strength shall be hunger bitten, and destruction shall be ready at his side. It shall devour the strength of his skin, even the firstborn of death shall devour his strength. His confidence shall be rooted out of his tabernacle, and it shall bring him to the king of terrors." Right? Now, his confidence is being rooted out because his economy is collapsing. He understands that his new world order is not going to come to fruition. He understands that nuclear war, their population is declining, first of all. They have a negative birth rate. The other nations are fed up with them. South Africa, they're chasing the white man out the land. The East Indian man, he's finally standing up and saying they should be stripped of their power. The Israelites been saying the so-called white man's going down by the hand of the prophets. Everybody's speaking up against this man. You even had this Moabite man that came up and spoke against them. So his confidence is being rooted out. He's losing his stronghold of the earth. And ultimately, it's going to bring him to the judgment of Yahweh Bashem Yahushua, who's the king of terrors. Right? Let's jump down to verse 18. He shall be driven from light into darkness and chased out of the world. And right now, he's being chased out of the world, man. Verbally. Right? UN Secretary General, Youth, Climate Advisor calls for whites to be stripped of power. So all hell is breaking loose in this man's kingdom, man. And who's going to strip him of his power? Yahweh. Bashem Yahushua, man. And the Lord stripped Aaron of his garments, right, and gave them to his son. The Most High is about to strip the so-called white man of his garments, man, of his throne, his scepter, his crown, his rulership. And you're going to see that happen in the days of war, man. Right? Well, I'm not going to get that, but let's go back to this. Right? Second Ezra, chapter 6 and 9. For Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth. Right? So you're living in the end of this man's world, and it's going to come by the clash of Russia, NATO. You're going to have these Arab nations get involved, and you're going to have China get involved and the kings of the East. And you could, like I was saying earlier, you could feel the end of the world, man. You could feel this thing happening. You could feel the tension. Everything is collapsing, man. I mean, this place is finished, man. What more does Yahweh Bashem Yahushua have to show you, man? He's showing you right now. Putin warns the West a Russia-NATO conflict is just one step from World War III, right? Now, I'm not going to read this whole article. You got one of the missiles launching off, right? World War III is at an all-time high. At an all-time high. Russian President Putin warned the West on Monday that a direct conflict between Russia and the United States-led NATO military alliance would mean the planet was one step away from World War III, but said hardly anyone wanted such a scenario, right? It's not about what you want. Some of these elites, they want war, right? It's a money maker. It's part of the so-called New World Order, but they don't know Yahweh Shah is going to shut the whole thing down. And it doesn't matter if you want it or don't want it. It's about what the Most High wants, man. See, the Most High, he's about to put a spirit on these nations to start destroying one another, right? And vexing one another with adversity and affliction, right? So they're going to press that button soon, right? And once Europe is bombed and once they get involved, that's Bible prophecy, right? That goes into the bottomless pit, which we're about to touch on, right? And the king of the bottomless pit. So you have Ukraine right here. You have Russia. So this is a map, right? Geopolitical map of Europe. If Russia was to win Ukraine, then they're right into NATO territory, right? They're into Poland. They're pushing into Romania. They're pushing further into Germany. So ultimately, France is saying, hey, look, we see how bad it's getting Ukraine. We're going to send our troops out there. So they're bold. They said, we're going to put at least 2,000 troops out there. And this guy said, there's no limit of what we can do. Germany says, okay, we're going to give them more money. America says, we're going to give them more money. Right? But eventually, that's where that bottom line is going to be crossed. And Ukraine, Belarus, and Belarus is part of Russia, meaning they're part of their military alliance. All right? So we're hoping this thing kicks off, man. We're hoping that terrorist attack in Russia was an inside job funded by the CIA and by the so-called white man here in America, man. They're saying ISIS did it, but we know what that's about, man. A lot of these so-called groups have been funded and have been trained and have been given a weaponry and strategy and intel from elite government agencies, predominantly here in America. So we're hoping that word gets out that this thing actually happened, man, because if that terrorist attack in Russia was actually started by Esau over here in America, then that's no doubt World War III. Right now they're saying Ukraine may have done it, or we don't know. We're trying to figure it out. We're still looking into it, right? But a lot of wars happen with terrorist attacks, false flags, assassinations. That's how World War I started. In World War II, you had assassinations of leaders and Ferdinand and a lot of things, man. So we're hoping that this thing escalates. We're not hoping that it quells down like the rest of the world. We're hoping that the Most High continually sends fire on the earth, man. Right? And the Lord said, I have come to send fire on the earth, right? And what will I if it be already kindled? This is St. Luke, chapter 12 and 49. I am come to send fire on the earth, and what will I if it be already kindled? And the fires are already kindled, man. This thing is already burning up. Yahweh, Bashmi Abashah, is only going to exasperate this flame, man. Right? And increase it, because his fan is in his hand. And he will thoroughly purge his floor, man, and burn everybody with unquenchable fire. So he's kindling a fire and starting commotion and seditions and wars and terrorist attacks on the earth right now. And it's all pointing back towards NATO and the EU. Right? So you have this tension going on in the earth. This is from Euro News. Russia preparing, this is from, right, March 21st, right? Russia preparing for wider conflict with NATO sooner than expected, right? A lot of people are saying maybe by the year 2027. Salakia. Maybe by the year, 2028. You got these analysts and these political scientists, and they're trying to figure this thing out. Hey, Yahweh Bashmi Abashah can have this thing happen according to his time, right? It's not up to man, right? When war kicks off, that's ordained by God. The Most High is a man of war, and every army works under him, huh? Whether you're an army of angels, an army of Israel, or you're a heathen army, every army reports and checks in with the Most High. So they're preparing for a wider conflict with NATO sooner than expected, right? Let's see if they got this video. You may not play it, right? We may play it. We'll see, right? But let's read on, right? Hold on. Depends on how long it is. I didn't plan on going into this, right? So we'll see, right? It reads, with U.S. funding for Ukraine still in limbo, European allies are trying to ramp up their support as Russia mounts new strikes. Russia is so they really, if America's not getting involved, they're going to have to finally stand up for themselves. A lot of these European nations, they look to America, right, to have their back, man. Right? America's really the headquarters. You know, they call the shots, man. They're top dog, if you can understand. When you read Daniel the 7th chapter, the Lord said their look was more stout than their fellows, man. Right? This is Daniel, right? Chapter 7 and verse 20. It reads, and of the 10 horns that were in his head, those are your European Union countries, and of the other which came up, which is America, and before whom 3 fell, that's Spain, France, and England. Even of that horn that had eyes, and a mouth that spake very great things, whose look was more stout than his fellows. Right? So America, they're a little bit more stout. You got a little more wealth, more power. They're mightier, they're stronger. When you go into this word stout, right? Let's go into it real quick. So all these nations, they're looking to America to save them, huh? Right? They're looking to America to fund Ukraine with all types of weaponry and technology so they don't have to get involved. So the word stout says great, figuratively of power. And America is more powerful. Like I said, that's the spirit. It says captain. They're the captain or the chief of NATO, man. And their look is more stout than their fellows. They have a higher supply of nuclear weapons. They have more influence on the earth, right? They have more wealth and more money. So they have a stouter look than their fellows. And their fellows are their companions, their diplomatic allies, which are these European countries, man. So Daniel 7 actually prophesies about America's influence and authority that they will have over their allies. And they speak very great things against Yahweh, Yahweh Shai, against Yasha Allah, and against these other nations, man. Right? And their look, again, is more stout than their fellows. So that's why you have these other nations in Europe. They're like, well, look, if America is not going to continually fund Ukraine and give them weaponry and train them and send troops, well, damn, we have no other choice. I guess we got to get involved. And a lot of people are kind of waiting to see who's going to try to go head to head with Russia, because they know that not one European country can take down Russia one-on-one. Germany and Russia one-on-one, it would be an annihilation. It would be a nuclear catastrophe, right? If England went one-on-one, right? So they're looking to see, okay, well, who's going to step up? So France stepped up. Huh? France, they have something to prove. They've been known as being a coward nation, an effeminate, soft nation. Macron has been known for being double-minded and not, not making the best moves for his country. So he's looking to step up, man, and put France on the map. So they're trying to ramp up in wake of Russia that's about to wipe out Ukraine. Right? So check this out. It says Russia is preparing for a large-scale conventional conflict with NATO. According to the Institute for the Study of War. So these aren't rookies, man. These are experts. Based on an analysis of several Russian financial, economic, and military indicators. The think tank explains that while any such conflict won't happen imminently, and that's what they say, Russia is likely planning on a shorter timeline than some Western analysts have previously posited. The Russian military is undertaking structural reforms to simultaneously support the war in Ukraine while expanding its conventional capabilities in what? In preparation for a potential future conflict with NATO. And it will happen, man. You will have this war 3 between NATO, the EU. You're going to have these other nations also get involved. The kings of the East, North Korea. You're going to have China get involved. Iran is going to get involved, right? You can read about the dragons of Arabia. They're going to get involved, which is your Peninsula Shield Force, right? And your Arab League, they're going to get involved in this thing, right? And this thing is going to turn into a global conflict. Now, let's go to the book of Revelation, the 9th chapter. Right? Let's go to Revelation chapter 9. Because Revelation chapter 9, it speaks heavily of Europe being involved in war. Right? Now, a lot of people, when they read the book of Revelation, they have this mind of a so-called white man where everything is fanatical and it's like a fable and some dark damn mystery, man. Right? So they make everything literal. It's the point. And they turn it to some Greek mythology, monsters and ghouls and goblins and terrible beasts, and because the scriptures aren't for them, huh? See, before we even go into Revelation, we have to set the tone that this is a similitude that John is about to see, right? That John did see, man. It's not, don't read Revelation and you start thinking, okay, there's an actual dragon coming to the earth. All right, there are actual locusts, right? With man's face and hair like woman. This is not Greek mythology, man. And Edomite madness. That's something that Esau comes up with, man. Where they shape shift creatures and crossbreed and mix this with that. And that's why he thinks like that. That's why a lot of these images, if you look up some of these verses in Revelation, they look like monsters and damn goblins and all types of things that are from another dimension, man. But they have nothing to do with the reality of the prophecy, right? This is Hosea chapter 12 and 10. I have also spoken by the prophets, right, Salakia, and I have multiplied visions and used similitudes by the ministry of the prophets. So the Lord deals with similitudes. What is a similitude? Let's pull this up. Right? Similitude. A comparison between two things. The quality or state of being similar to something. A person or thing resembling someone or something else. Right? You'll read about a locust, right? Which we're about to go into. You'll read about a pit, right? You'll read about a dragon. You'll read about all of these different things, but it's not literal. The Lord is comparing the nature and the characteristics of these things to other people or places or things, man. That's what a similitude is. The great red dragon is likened to who? The Roman Empire. It's a similitude for the Roman Empire. A dragon is a violent creature, right? A dragon is full of wrath. The dragon is red because Esau is red, right? These things are similitudes in the scriptures, man. They're also called, really, they're called riddles too, man. The prophet Ezekiel, read us chapter 17. He was told to speak, he was told to speak in riddles, right? Ezekiel chapter 17 and 1. And the word of Yahweh came unto me, saying, Son of man, put forth a riddle and speak a parable unto the house of Israel. So there are riddles in the scriptures, right? A riddle is a mystery. It's intentional to make you have to figure it out. It's a puzzle. That's what a riddle is. A riddle isn't given to you so it can be easy. Otherwise, it wouldn't be a riddle. And why does the Most High put riddles in the Bible? So everybody doesn't get it. Everybody doesn't get the riddle. There's only a few people. If you got a room of 200 people, you put a riddle, people in there, they're going to be thinking all day till they figure it out, man. Samson put forth the riddle, to the Philistines. That was a mystery, man. And there was a reward for figuring out that riddle, And the Most High gave a riddle to Belshazzar, down in the 5th chapter. Many, many tickle you farson. And nobody could figure out the riddle but Daniel by the Spirit of the Most High. Right? And he said, your kingdom has been found wanting and is given to the hands of the Medes and the Persians, paraphrasing. So there are riddles all throughout the scriptures, and Revelation is a huge riddle. So we're going to go into this riddle or go into this similitude and explain it, because it's really going into Europe being involved in war, right? And not just any war, it's Europe being involved in World War III, right? Not, I heard brothers say, okay, no, it's going into World War II. I heard brothers say it's going into World War I. Well, first of all, it's going into World War III. How do you know it's going into World War III? Let's go to Revelation, the 6th chapter, right? It's not going into World War II or World War I, right? Revelation 9 is about the end of the world, World War III. Now, you know that because when you look at the seals, these seals are in chronological order. Okay, now I'm not going to go through every seal. We went to it, but I'll go through the 4th seal on down, right? Maybe I'll go to the 5th seal. I'll start at the 5th seal for sake of time. So the 7th seal doesn't happen before the 5th seal. The 4th seal doesn't happen before the 2nd seal. These seals happen in order. Okay. Now the 5th seal speaks about the time of martyrdom and Jacob's trouble. Okay, you read about that in Revelation chapter 12 and 17, 2nd Ezra chapter 16, 70 on down, and many like precepts, Daniel 12 and 1 on down, about the Israelites being persecuted for the testimony of Yahushua. You know? And then after that, we'll read about World War III happening and missiles beginning to rain on the earth. And then you have the 7th seal that's open. And once the 7th seal is open, the 7 trumpets begin to sound. You don't have a trumpet that sounds in a 7th seal, but it's speaking about the 1914 and 1915. That's absolutely prophetically incorrect, right? Especially if you know that the seals run in order. So once the 7th seal opens, that's approaching the end of World War III. Because once the 7th trumpet sounds during the 7th seal, that's the return of Yahushua. So the 6th trumpet and the 5th trumpet also are about World War III, and the 4th trumpet and the 3rd trumpet, you know? But we'll go through it, right? Revelation 6 and 9. And when you had opened, see, and that's why it's important to measure the times, okay? It's important to measure the times. And that way you'll be able to understand the chronology of prophecy. And that's something, you know, we like to harp on. Not just knowing the prophecy and the breakdown, that's one thing. But the chronology of prophecy helps you understand what prophecy follows the next one, and what prophecy is after that one, and what prophecy comes before that. Because that way you can paint the entire picture, you know, and give the people a better warning. Okay? 2nd Ezra 6 and 9. It's like a 9 and 1, right? One of my favorite precepts. He answered me then and said, measure thou the time diligently in itself. And when thou seest part of the signs pass, which I have told thee before, then shalt thou understand that it is the very same time wherein the highest will begin to visit the world which he made. So we have to measure the time. We have to look at what's happening and what has happened, and then look at the scripture that shows what's going to happen right after that. And you look at what's going on in the earth and you link it up with the scriptures. That's how you measure the time diligently. And you have to see part of the signs pass. Don't see parts of the signs pass and they already happened, but then you link up a prophecy that already happened and you say it's going to happen in the future. Or a prophecy in the future that has to happen, you start throwing it into the prophecies with the past. That's madness, bro. You see part of the signs pass, and then you understand that there are more things to come. Okay, now one of the things that are to come is the 5th seal, Revelation 6 and 9. And when he had opened the 5th seal, I saw under the altar the souls of them that were slain for the word of the Most High and for the testimony which they held. And that's during the time of Jacob's trouble, massive persecution, when men are going to be put to death for believing in this word. And they cried with a loud voice, saying, how long, O Lord, holy and true, dost thou not judge and avenge our blood on them that dwell on the earth? And this hasn't happened yet. All right. You had men that did give up the ghost and they were martyred, like the apostles and the early church fathers. But we know in the spirit that this is a future martyrdom that John saw. Right. And when I say future, about this time, because when he saw this vision, all the other apostles already gave up the ghost and fell asleep. Peter already fell asleep. James slain with the sword, right? And they were already gone. So he's looking at something in this life about us being persecuted. And white robes were given unto every one of them. And it was said unto them that they should rest yet for a little season until their fellow servants also and their brethren that should be killed as they were should be fulfilled. So there's a set number of men that have to die for this truth. And once that number is fulfilled, that's when Yahweh Shah is going to bring about the judgment. So while you have World War III happening, you're going to have that number adding up, because you're going to have persecution happening predominantly in Babylon the Great, but simultaneously, because prophecies do happen at the exact same time, simultaneously, war is going to be happening amongst these other nations. So, and once that number is fulfilled of the martyrdom, immediately after that, World War III is going to be at its peak, and Yahweh Shah is going to return. Right? Let's read that in Matthew 24. That's why it says immediately after the tribulation in those days, right? St. Matthew chapter 24 and verse 29. Immediately after the tribulation of those days. What tribulation is that? Jacob's trouble. Great tribulation. You understand? Persecution. Once that number is fulfilled, immediately after that, shall the sun be darkened, and the moon shall not give her light, and the stars shall fall from heaven, and the powers of the heavens shall be shaken. And then those bombs are going to start to drop on the earth. Then they're going to come to Babylon the Great. And then shall appear the sign of the Son of Man in heaven, and then shall all the tribes of the earth mourn, and they shall see the Son of Man coming in the clouds of heaven with power and great glory. So you're going to have Jacob's trouble. Then you're going to have World War III happening at the same time. All right. Then Jacob's trouble is going to end first. And then World War III is going to happen a little bit longer. When the bombs drop, then Yahweh Shah is going to return. That's how the prophecy works. That's what the fifth seal is going into. Revelation chapter 6 and 12. Now we're going into the sixth seal. The sixth seal is when those stars are falling to the earth and the missiles begin to launch. And World War III starts to really kick off. That's during the time of the sixth seal. Revelation chapter 6 and 12. And I beheld when he had opened the sixth seal, and lo, there was a great earthquake, and the sun became black as sackcloth of hair, and the moon became as blood. Right? That's your eclipse, your blood moon. And the stars of heaven fell unto the earth, even as a fig tree casteth her untimely figs when she is shaken of a mighty wind. And keep in mind, we're going to go back to the stars falling into the earth, right? Because again, like we always go into, the stars of heaven falling into the earth are not shooting stars. They're not comets. It's not an asteroid. It's not a meteor, right? It's talking about intercontinental ballistic missiles, hypersonic missiles, if you can understand. They're going to fall to the earth. And the heaven departed as a scroll when it is rolled together, and every mountain and island were moved out of their places, and the kings of the earth, and the great men, and the rich men, and the chief captains, and the mighty men, and every bondman, and every free man hid themselves in the dens and in the rocks of the mountains. Because once war kicks off, they're going to go to the deep underground military bases, right? Every elite or that's going to be preserved for slavery has a deep underground military base created by God to preserve them so they can be enslaved by the elect once the elect come back down on the earth from the chariots. So they're going to be preserved, man. You know? And they may have servants in there to cater to them and things of that nature too. Right? And said to the mountains and the rocks, fall on us and hide us from the face of him that sitteth on the throne and from the wrath of the Lamb. For the great day of his wrath is come, and who shall be able to stand? Because they know that Yahweh Bashmer Shah is judging the earth. That's during the sixth seal. Now, let's go to Revelation chapter 8. Revelation chapter 8 and verse 1. So we have the fifth seal, Jacob's trouble. The sixth seal goes into World War III. The seventh seal are the final stages of World War III, when the last of the missiles are going to be launched on the earth. And then you're going to have 7 trumpets sound. So you're not going to have World War I happen in the middle of the seventh seal. It's absolutely mind-blowing for that to even be out there, right? It has zero things to do with the time of World War III and the seventh seal. All right, but let's read on. Revelation 8 and 1. And when he had opened the seventh seal, there was silence in heaven about the space of half an hour. And I saw the seven angels which stood before the Most High, and to them were given seven trumpets. Right, so these trumpets are opened during the seventh seal. The seventh seal is right after the sixth seal, when World War III kicks off, that we just read about. Right now, let's jump down and see what happens when these trumpets begin to sound. When the seven trumpets begin to sound, the final missiles are going to be launched on the earth. Okay, Revelation chapter 8 and 6. And when the seven angels, which had the seven trumpets, prepared themselves to sound, the first angel sounded, and there followed hell and fire, mingled with blood, and they were cast upon the earth. And the third part of the trees was burnt up, and all green grass was burnt up. Right? And we'll go into this. The trees and the grass are talking about men. And we'll touch on that. All right. But right now, I just want to go through this. So it's speaking about the missiles hitting the earth, destroying different men in different places. What the Most High is doing is he's comparing the plagues of Egypt to these last seven plagues. So in ancient Egypt, you had hell mingled with fire. But this is an actual hell mingled with fires, parabolic for the missiles falling to the earth and men being destroyed. Those are the trees and the grass. And we'll prove that as we read on. And the second angel sounded, and as it were a great mountain burning with fire was cast into the sea. And the third part of the sea became blood. And the sea is talking about men and different nations. So the Most High is just repeating himself over and over. He's just saying these missiles are going to hit the earth, and countries and nations are going to be hit by it. Okay. And the third part of the creatures which were in the sea and had life died, and the third part of the ships were destroyed. Right. The Navy, the people, right. Aircraft carriers are going to get hit. The USS, Eisenhower, and all these big aircraft carriers, they're going to start getting hit, man. That game Battleship is going to become a reality that Jake or people would play back in the day. You know? Verse 10. And the third angel sounded, and there fell a great star from heaven. See that? You have that stars falling from heaven again, talking about the missiles. Burning as it were a lamp, and it fell upon the third part of the rivers and upon the fountains of waters. And the rivers and waters are men. The Lord likens men into drops of water in 2 Ezra 6. Right? The Lord likens men into waters in Isaiah the 17th chapter, 13 on down. Right? The Lord likens men unto waters in Revelation 17 and 15 on down. Okay? So again, men could be waters, the sea, green grass, and trees. When these missiles hit the earth, they're just going to start eradicating the population of the earth. That's why in Isaiah 24, it says, therefore, the curse hath devoured the earth. Right? Isaiah 24 and verse 6. Therefore hath the curse, meaning the fire of the missiles, devoured the earth, and they that dwell therein are desolate. Therefore the inhabitants of the earth are burned, and few men left. Because it's going to take out, I'm led to believe, maybe 80% of the population. Huh? Right? Now that's me just speaking as a man. But few men are going to be left on the earth. We're reading about the green grass, the trees, the seas. All these people are going to die, man, when these bombs begin to drop on the earth. Let's go to 2 Ezra, chapter 16. Okay, 2 Ezra. And I'm going through Revelation 8, because I'm just painting a picture and providing a point that this is during the time of World War III. Right? Revelation 8 is now, the World War I. Right? Or the Civil War. And then Revelation 9 is World War I. No, it's all World War III. Right? So we just have to provide that preface, for lack of better terms, a prologue, if you can understand, before we actually get into it, man. Our forefathers had prologues. This is Second Esdras, right? Chapter 16 and verse, this whole thing is good. Verse 22. Second Esdras 16 and 22. For many of them, like we read, few of them are going to be left. Why? For many of them that dwell upon the earth shall perish of famine, and the other that escape the hunger shall the sword destroy. So when that curse devour the earth, many people are going to die. That's why Isaiah said, few men are left. And the dead shall be cast out as dung, and there shall be no man to comfort them, for the earth shall be wasted, and the city shall be cast down. Now, there was an article I read not too long ago, but they say when nuclear war begins to kick off, you can expect to see, and I believe it through some wild number, like 60 to 80% of the population is going to die. You know, and they said in 72 hours, if an EMP attack hit America, they say you're going to see about 75% of the population die. So these people are going to die quick when these bombs drop, man. Right? The Lord said the people of the earth are going to be taken in a great number in Second Esdras, the 5th chapter. That's why Revelation 8 says all the green grass, all of the trees, not literally every man, just saying a lot of people, right? Sometimes all means all, sometimes it doesn't, okay? It said all of the seas, right? All of the rivers. So there are many people, man, right? And we're going to go into these missiles and, you know, and what they do. Second Esdras chapter 5 and 1. Nevertheless, as concerning the tokens, behold, the day shall come that they which dwell upon earth shall be taken. Slakia. Shall be taken in a great number, and the way of truth shall be hidden, and the land shall be barren of faith. What does it mean the people shall be taken in a great number? A great number is like when a bomb drops and, you know, you have, I don't know how many people could die from one nuclear explosion. Let's see how many people can or will, right, will die from nuclear bombs. A nuclear bomb, I should say. How many people will die? Look at that. Okay, so they're saying a nuclear weapon can destroy a city and kill most of its people. Several nuclear explosions over modern cities would kill tens of millions of people. Casualties from a major nuclear war between the US and Russia would reach hundreds of millions. Hundreds of millions. Let's read another one. How many people would die from nuclear bomb? According to a peer-reviewed study published in the journal Nature Food in August 2022, a full-scale nuclear war between the United States and Russia might kill 360 million people directly and more than 5 billion. Look at that. The Lord said, few men of the earth are left. Right? And many people are going to die. The Lord said, people are going to be taken in great number. And more than 5 billion people might die as a consequence from starvation. Like we read about the famine. The others that escape the hunger shall the sword destroy. And hunger doesn't just happen from an economic collapse. It happens when damn all of the food is destroyed. How are you going to have food when the land in the city is wasted, man? You know, where are you getting the food from when all of the animals are burnt up? So they say more than 5 billion people might die as a consequence from starvation due to soup created by firestorms after nuclear bombing. So there's going to be a nuclear holocaust. You know the word holocaust, it means a whole burnt offering. And the Lord, he likens the people unto an offering in Isaiah 34. So the people are going to be a burnt offering, man. Let's go to Isaiah chapter 34 when these missiles begin to hit the earth. Right? There will be a holocaust. Isaiah chapter 34 And verse 5. For my sword shall be bathed in heaven. Behold, it shall come down upon Idumea and upon the people of my curse to judgment. Who's Idumea? The Edomites, right? Chiefly in America, but also in Europe. And we're going to read about his sword coming down upon Idumea and upon the people of his curse. What is the curse we read about in Isaiah 24? The missiles that are going to burn up the people. It said, therefore, the inhabitants of the earth are burned and few men are left when the curse devoured the earth. So these are the people set up to be destroyed by the missiles. Man. The third part of men, the green grass. The sword of Yahweh is filled with blood. It is made fat with fatness, and with the blood of lambs and goats, and the fat of kidneys of rams. For Yahweh, Bashnebushai, hath a sacrifice in Basra, and a great sacrifice, like a great slaughter, in the land of Idumea. Right? And Basra is really America. It was a chief city in ancient Edom. Okay? And you look it up on the map. Right? Now, in the Bible dictionary, let me see if they go into Basra. It was a chief city in ancient Edom. Okay? Okay, Basra, right? From the Zondervan Compact Bible Dictionary, page 94. City of Edom, right? 75 miles south of Damascus. Right, so if you look up Basra on a map, pull this up. Here's Basra. It was the chief city of Edom. Now, what's the chief city of the Edomites now? America. The great city that reigneth over the kings of the earth. So Basra is really going into America. And the Lord has a sacrifice. That's what a holocaust is. A holocaust is an offering. Holocaust. Sacrifice by fire, a burnt offering. Burnt whole. Right? It's not just talking about Amalek. The priests did a holocaust, man. The Levites, they were involved in a holocaust. A righteous holocaust. Now, when Yahweh Bashmemashai destroys the so-called white man, that's going to be a nuclear holocaust because they will be wholly burnt and it will be a sacrifice. It's not Yahweh Shai high priest. Don't priests do sacrifices? The final sacrifice of Yahweh Shai is the nuclear holocaust, the nuclear sacrifice, the whole burnt offering. That's why many men will be burnt. All right, let's read this again. 2nd Ezra 5:1. Nevertheless, as concerning the tokens, behold, the day shall come that they which dwell upon earth shall be taken in a great number. So that links back up with Revelation chapter 8, with all of the green grass, all of the trees. And the way of truth shall be hidden, and the land shall be barren of faith. Let's read the next verse. Verse 2. But iniquity shall be increased above that which now thou seest, or that thou hast heard long ago. And the land that thou seest now to have root, shalt thou see wasted suddenly. What can suddenly waste a land? What can suddenly, instantaneously, at a split second, waste land that had root? Nuclear bombs, man. It's going to be wasted suddenly. Right? But if the Most High grant thee to live, thou shalt see that after the third trumpet, that the sun shall suddenly shine again in the night, and the moon thrice in the day. So a lot of men aren't going to make it past the first two trumpets. What are the first two trumpets? The first two trumpets are when the first missiles begin to sound during the time of the seventh seal. Right? So men are going to be alive in Jacob's trouble. Men are going to be alive in World War III. Men, the elect men, are going to be alive all the way up until the seventh trumpet. That same trumpet you read about in 1 Thessalonians, the 4th chapter. Book of Isaiah, the 27th chapter. But a lot of men, they're not going to make it They're not going to make it past the fifth seal, the fourth seal, the sixth seal. But when that seventh seal sound and these things really kick off, the Most High said everybody ain't going to make it, man. If he grants you to live, thou shalt see after the third trumpet. Right? And we're going to go back and read about the third trumpet. That the sun shall suddenly shine again in the night, and the moon thrice in the day. The sun and the moon symbolizes your wisdom, your hope, right? And your knowledge of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua, right? Because when these bombs begin to drop, you're going to know in the spirit that, hey, look, we're almost out of here, man. And your sun is going to be shining on you again. And your moon is going to be able to shine. And you won't fear evil. That's Psalms 91. You won't fear the destruction. 1,000 shall fall, what is that, at thy side, and 10,000 at thy right side, paraphrasing, right? Psalms chapter 91 and verse 4. He shall cover thee with his feathers, and under his wings shalt thou trust. His truth shall be thy shield and thy buckler. Thou shalt not be afraid of the terror by night, nor the arrow that flieth by day. Why won't you be afraid at night and day? Because the sun is going to do what? The sun shall suddenly shine again in the night, and the moon thrice in the day. Because you're going to have hope and remember, and that wisdom is going to be with you to preserve you. That's why thou shalt not be afraid of the terror by night, because you're going to have that sun shining upon you, parabolically speaking. Nor the arrow that flieth by day. The arrow are the missiles launching on the earth that we're reading about. Nor for the pestilence that walketh in darkness, nor for the destruction that wasteth at noonday. 1,000 shall fall at thy side, and 10,000 at thy right hand, but it shall not come nigh thee. So when them first two trumpets sound, that's really what Psalms 91 is going into, man. The hundreds and thousands of people, the billions that are going to die, but it won't come nigh thee. That's what the Most High said. If he grants you to live, you're going to see after the third trumpet. So let's go back and read about the third trumpet. So we know that this is going into World War III. All right. We know without a shadow of a doubt. Here's the third trumpet. Revelation chapter 8 and verse 10. And the third angel sounded, and there fell a great star from heaven, burning as it were a lamp. And it fell upon the third part of the rivers and upon the fountains of waters. And the name of the star is called Wormwood. And the third part of the waters became wormwood, and many men died of the waters because they were made bitter. So the third angel sounded, and a great star is none other than what we have been talking about, the nuclear bomb. It looks like a star falling from heaven. Okay, see if we can get, let's see. Right, it looks like stars falling from heaven. So when you read about stars falling from heaven, it's speaking about the missiles. Right, that's what we went into earlier. This is what a missile looks like a star. We just went into this on the previous code cut or the Monday Night Five. Right, so again, John, how you expect John to write down a hypersonic missile? Do you think John was a disciple of NASA? No, he was a disciple of the Lord, man. Yahushua didn't break down, okay, this is a hypersonic missile. Use that word and that word only. Here's a nuclear warhead. No, man, he's writing down futuristic technology with what? With an ancient mind, right? So he's describing these weapons in terms that he is familiar with. Okay, so he said these missiles are like stars falling from heaven, right? And it says it was called wormwood, right? And it's not literal, it's just parabolic, speaking about the bitter destruction, because wormwood is a bitter herb. Okay, it's one of the most bitter herbs. Right, you got nuclear fallout, you got people that get blind after a nuclear attack, you got people whose shadows stick to the ground, people starve. Once these bombs drop, the people, which are the waters, they're going to be very bitter. They're going to be it's going to be horrible out here, man. I mean, man hasn't been through that before. You probably lost your job. Car probably broke down. Hey, your woman probably left you, man. You probably, twisted your ankle or something. Probably had a bad day. You was at the curb at the bus stop and a car came by and the water splashed you, you know. But you never had to deal with nuclear fallout, radiation, food poisoning. The water's poisoned. The animals are dead. The stink comes up. Dead bodies everywhere. It's going to be a bitter time for man. That's what the Lord said after that third trumpet. If you make it past that, hey, there's hope. Revelation 8 and 12. And the fourth angel sounded, and the third part of the sun was smitten, and the third part of the moon was, and the third part of the stars. So as the third part of them was darkened, and the day shone not for a third part of it, and the night likewise. And that's speaking about the knowledge and understanding. Because once war really kicks off, what do these missiles target? They target your nuclear facilities. They target your power grid. They target political buildings. They target military bases. And that's the source of Esau's wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. That's where he gets his military might, his administration, his laws, his science. Once these things are targeted, his sun and moon is darkened. There's no other source of light. That's where his light comes from. His institutional buildings for military, religion, science, man. And once those things get hit, that's the third part of his sun and moon being shut down. Okay? Which means he's not going to be able to have an answer and be able to keep his economy and the civilians alive as World War III approaches its climax. Okay? Verse 13. And I beheld and then heard, Slakia, and I beheld and heard an angel flying through the midst of heaven, saying with a loud voice, woe, 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 which means complete destruction, to the inhabitants of the earth by reason of the other voices of the trumpet of the three angels, which are yet to sound. So there's more destruction coming on the earth, right? As these bombs begin to drop. Revelation 9 and 1. And the fifth angel sounded. So this is, we know, again, this is World War III. It's not World War II. It's not talking about D-Day. It's not talking about World War I, right? We went through it. And a fifth angel sounded, and I saw a star fall from heaven. What are the stars falling from heaven? The missiles, man. Then we say, keep in mind Revelation chapter 6. Right? Revelation chapter 6 and verse 13. And the stars of heaven fell unto the earth, even as a fig tree casteth her untimely figs when she is shaken of a mighty wind. So certain countries are going to get hit up. Huh? Those are the stars falling from heaven. Let's go to 2nd Ezra, the 15th chapter again. Right? 2nd Ezra, chapter 15 and verse 40. 2nd Ezra, chapter 15 and 40. Another precept about the stars. And that's why the Christians, they won't go into prophecy. See, one thing, a lot of, brothers, you debate these Christians on the highways and byways. They're taking you, they're trying to walk you down and get you, and you get going into Greek, and now you're dealing with, just go into prophecy, man. Go into prophecy. They can't, they first of all, they can't deal with you any damn way. And they chiefly ain't going to deal with you on prophecy. Man. Go into the promises and go into the prophecy. All right? If you go into the promises and the scriptures that haven't come to pass yet, undeniably, and you go into the prophecies, there's nothing they can do about it. They don't understand prophecy because they're not prophets. They're men with books in their hands who have enrolled in theologian school. Man. So we have to go into the prophecies because they can't go into these things, man. It's not for them. They'll think it's an actual shooting star, an actual wormwood, man. I mean, it's ridiculous. 2nd Ezra chapter 15 and 40. The great and mighty clouds shall be lifted up full of wrath, and the star, you see that they make all the earth afraid, and them that dwell therein. And they shall pour out over every high and eminent place and horrible star. So horrible stars are going to fall to the earth, which are the missiles. And they're going to come from the clouds. And these clouds aren't talking about the chariots, right? These clouds are aerial vehicles. Okay, like we went into before, your F-16 jets, your that can carry nuclear bombs now, right? These are the clouds. Because what Ezra saw was war in heaven. Okay. Now again, he couldn't describe this as a F-16 or a fighter jet, right? These things can now we went into they could drop missiles, man. Let's see, I believe it was the F-16, right? Let me see if that's it. Right? We went into one of these. Yeah, they can accommodate nuclear bombs now, huh? Right? And there was another one we went into. It can carry a nuclear bomb. Right? F-16s, uh, PA 200 tornado. Right? What is a tornado? A tornado is an amalgamation of clouds used by some NATO countries are also authorized to carry nuclear weapons. Right? So some of these jets are actually called tornadoes, which is a group of clouds, which the scriptures call a storm. Okay. Now, also, they're called clouds. Let's see. Right? Because when they fly, they call them cloud surfing. Right? Cloud surfing is when the jets go in and out the clouds. All right. It's an actual thing. Let's see if I can find that. Cloud surfing. See if they got a definition. Right? Let's see. I want jets. I don't want Slovakia. Okay, it's not the spiritual journey it sounds like, but it's a term used by pilots when they fly at altitudes where their aircraft appears to surf along the tops of clouds, right? So they're likening to clouds because they're in the sky, and they're likening to clouds for other reasons. They cloud surf, and when they break the sound barrier, let's see, sound have actual clouds that surround them as well, right? You see that? So when Ezra saw them, I mean, what do you expect Ezra to say now? He saw these vehicles flying at speeds, cloud surfing, covered in clouds, shooting down horrible stars on the earth, right? Because that's what's going to drop the missiles on the earth. Okay. So let's go back to Second Ezra, chapter 15 and 40. The great and mighty clouds shall be lifted up full of wrath. Right. And you can say, well, hold on, no, what that's talking about. I know specifically that's the chariots. Well, when you jump up, it's not going into the chariots. Right? This second Ezra 15 and 34. Behold, clouds from the east and from the north unto the south, and they are very horrible to look upon, full of wrath and storm. They shall smite one upon another. So the chariots aren't going to smite one upon another. They're not going to destroy one another, and it's not going to be a civil war. Right? What it's speaking about is the destruction coming from the kings of the east and from these other nations, okay, from their wars in heaven that they're going to have. That's why it says they're going to pour out over every high and eminent place and horrible star. So when the stars fall from heaven unto the earth as a fig tree that is shaken, that's in the time of World War III. That's before Yahushua returns. So that's why you have to link these precepts up. This links directly up with the sixth seal and the seventh seal. The sixth seal in Revelation 6 and 13 about the stars falling like a fig tree. And Revelation 8 about a great star like wormwood. And Revelation 9, a star fell from heaven. Right? Because these vehicles are going to launch missiles on the earth. They're going to pour out over every high and eminent place a horrible star. The high and eminent places are your chief cities. Beijing, Moscow, London, Tokyo, Shanghai, Hong Kong. Okay. All right. Quebec, Toronto. Right. A lot of these countries going to get jammed up. Fire and hell and flying swords and many waters, that all fields may be full, and all rivers right? With the abundance of waters. It's like with the abundance of great waters. And they shall break down the cities and walls, mountains and hills, trees of wood and grass of meadows and their corn. And they shall go steadfastly into Babylon and make her afraid. So they're going to come into America, man. They shall come to her and besiege her. And the star, you see that? And all wrath shall they pour out upon her. Then shall the dust and smoke go up unto heaven. And all they that be about her shall bewail her. Because they're going to launch missiles here in America too. And what happens when the stars fall from heaven? The fire and the smoke goes up. The dust and the smoke shall ascend from heaven once the stars hit that land. Once stars hit the land, dust and smoke comes up. Okay, and that's what's going to happen to Babylon the Great. All right, the dust and the smoke will come up out the earth. Let's read about that in Revelation 9. Let's go back. Revelation chapter 9 and 1. And the fifth angel sounded, and I saw a star fall from heaven unto the earth, which are the missiles. And to him was given the key of the bottomless pit. Now, there's not an actual angel. A lot of Christians, they say it was a fallen angel, right? I'm getting excited, right? They say it was a fallen angel. And he fell down from heaven. He had a key. And he went to this pit and he unlocked it, right? And he unlocked it, and it was against the will of God. And these demons from the abyss came out, and he started creeping on the earth and killing man. That's not what it's talking about, right? Once the missiles begin to hit the earth and they begin to hit the bottomless pit is going to get involved in war, right? The bottomless pit is Europe, man, right? That's why it says to him was given a key of the bottomless pit. What does a key do? A key opens and closes. It can unleash what's inside the house or close up what's inside the house. If you got a lion and a tiger in a cage, you take a key and unleash it, and that lion's coming out to kill, man. If you lock it up, that lion, he can't do nothing. So the power of the bottomless pit is preserved until these missiles begin to hit Europe. Then they're going to get involved in World War III. Then they're going to be unleashed and unlocked, man. Now, how do you know it's not an actual key, right? Well, certain spirits have certain keys. Yahweh Shai, he was given keys. Wasn't Peter given keys? Wasn't the Pharisees given keys? Right? So don't think of keys as an actual key, man. Right? Revelation chapter 1 and 18. I am he that liveth and was dead. And behold, I am alive forevermore. Amen. And have the keys of hell and death. Who gave Yahweh Shai the keys of hell and death? The Most High. Yahweh. Are there a pack of janitor keys with the ring on them? Yahweh Shai, hold on, I gotta find the key. Right? Going through the thing. Okay. Holding it up. Then it goes. No, man. Right? The keys of hell and death means Yahweh Shai has power to raise people out the grave for the resurrection and to send people into the grave. That's what he has power of, man. Yahweh gave him power to do such things. Right? He can release somebody from the grave or send somebody in the grave. That's the keys that he was given. So certain spirits were given authority by God to seal up things, to open up things, to have control over the spirits. That's what the keys are. Right? Let's get another precept on the keys. Let's go to Matthew. Right? Chapter 16. Matthew chapter 16 and verse 18. And I say also unto thee, thou art Peter, and upon this rock I will build my church, and the gates of hell shall not prevail against it. It's not literal gates of hell. There's no actual place called hell. You got gates out there, and the leaders of hell are rising against Peter. Not just speaking about there's no spirit or adversity that can overthrow the truth. Because if it be the Most High, it cannot overthrow it. Right? Let's read on. So he's talking to Peter. And I will give unto thee the keys of the kingdom of heaven. So here's what the key allows you to do. And whatsoever Thou shalt bind on earth shall be bound in heaven, and whatsoever thou shalt loose on earth shall be loose in heaven. So Peter had authority to have people receive salvation through the baptism, through preaching the gospel. Yahweh had authority to say, no, you're not getting the kingdom. Didn't he do that to Ananias and Seraphias in Acts 5? Then they died because they hid back part of the price. He had authority to do that. He killed them, man. You know, let me get that real quick. I'm not going to read the whole account. Acts chapter 5 at verse 5. I'm going to get straight to the point. I'm going to start at 4. Whiles it remained, was it not thine own? This Peter speaking. And after it was sold, was it not in thine own power? Why hast thou conceived this thing in thine heart? Thou hast not lied unto men, but unto the Most High. See that? Because they kept back part of the price. They set up this collection, you know, and they would distribute unto every man according to their need. The rich gave what they had, gave more. The poor gave the little they have, and everybody was treated equitably. But you had certain men, they sold and they kept back part of the price, like this guy. And Ananias, hearing these words, fell down and gave up the ghost, and great fear came on all of them that heard these things. So Peter killed this guy. He could have said, look, you know, I forgive you. It's okay. No, he had the keys. He shut this man up, and it's over, right, for that guy. Here's another example of Peter using his keys. This is Acts chapter 8 and verse 20, right? This is the man, I believe, Simon the sorcerer, right? Yeah, Simon the sorcerer. He wanted to buy the Holy Spirit. Here's what Peter said, Acts 8 and 20. But Peter said unto him, thy money perish with thee, because thou hast thought that the gift of the Most High may be purchased with money. Thou hast neither part nor a lot in this matter, for thy heart is not right in the sight of God. So he told him, hey, you don't get this thing, man. You don't get no lot in the kingdom of heaven. You're on the outside looking in for now. Repent, therefore, of this thy wickedness, and pray God if perhaps the thought of thine heart may be forgiven thee. So Peter, he could shut men out, man. Say, you don't have no lot, or you do have a lot. You can make it into this kingdom. He had the keys. Yahweh Shai has the keys, right? Yahweh Shai got on, let me get this precept I had, on the Pharisees. They had the keys, right? Luke 11 and 52. Luke 11 and 52. Well, he's getting on the lawyers, actually. Woe unto you, lawyers, for ye have taken away the key of knowledge. Ye entered not in yourselves, and them that were entering in, ye hindered. You see that? So they took men away from the truth. They shut men out by being hypocrites and teaching them the traditions of men and not the true sayings of Yahweh Bashem Yahushua. And he had the key of knowledge. Now, with the Most High said in Revelation 9, and to him was given the key of the bottomless pit, the Most High is saying that once these missiles begin to hit the earth, everything in the bottomless pit, all of Europe, NATO, their armies, they're going to be unleashed. They're going to be taken out. They're going to get active in this war. They're going to be involved in nuclear war. And he's going to open the bottomless pit, man. You know, right now the Lord opened up war between Russia and Ukraine, and he could seal it up. The Lord sealed up the war between Japan and America. He sealed that thing up with the key, but the Lord could open it back up. There's no more war between Japan and America. The Lord bombed them, and it was what it was, man. He sealed it up. There's no war between America and Germany. He sealed it up with the key. You had D-Day. They stormed Normandy. They took down, the Germans, and that was it. Now the Lord, he's about to unlock Europe in war. That's why you have, hold on, where is it at? The West wants war with Russia. Dutch journalists to RT, this from RT News, right? Sanja van den End, right, if I'm pronouncing that name right, claims some European nations are actively preparing for a conflict with Moscow. So really, it's only a matter of time. It's only a matter of time, especially if they find out that the West is behind this Moscow terrorist incident. Huh? If they find out that America, was somewhat involved or whatever the case may be, however the Most High has it play out, then this war is going to happen sooner than expected. And once Russia gets bombed, I mean, it's like Europe, they start feeling the heat of World War III, and the stars start hitting them, they're going to get into this thing, and that war is going to happen. That's what it's going into. All right? So that's why you have this conflict on a massive level. Right? Where is it? Okay, we're going to hold that. Because they had they put together a visual of what a nuclear attack would look like on the West. Right? But I'm going to get that in time to come. Right? So we broke down the key. It says, and to him was given the key of the bottomless pit. Now, when you look up the bottomless pit, I believe I had this pulled up. Here's what the so-called white man wants you to think. That's why you can't believe in his fiction. Look at this. This is what he thinks. An angel came down, and an angel had the key, and he unlocked. Look at this. He unlocked this thing that was sealed up. This is madness, man. These are like fables. That's the bottomless pit, an inferno of hell. Look at this. Right? A loaf. Right? This is the locust they got, man. Got hair like a woman, face like a man. They moving like horses. I mean, the Most High didn't create this, man. He said all flesh is not the same flesh. You got flesh of beasts, you got flesh of birds, you got flesh of fishes, paraphrasing. So they're all trying to figure out what's the bottomless pit. Is it hell? Right? Is there an actual demon down there with a key in his hand? This is what Esau is getting down with, man. The bottomless pit is Europe, right? Now, the question really is, why is it called the bottomless pit? Right? Let's go to 2nd Ezra chapter 5. Right? First of all, a pit is likened to a landmass. Let's go to 2nd Ezra, the 5th chapter. This is 2nd Ezra, chapter 5 and 23. So it's not an actual place called hell with a bunch of demons in it. And the angel got to come down with a key. Right? 2nd Ezra, chapter 5 and 23. And said, O Lord, thou bearest rule of every wood of the earth, and of all the trees thereof, thou hast chosen thee one only vine. So the Most High's favorite tree is the vine tree. And of all the lands of the whole world, thou hast chosen thee one pit. Let me read that again. And of all the lands of the world, Slakia, and of all lands of the whole world, thou hast chosen thee one pit, and of all the flowers thereof, one lily. So lands are pits, according to the scriptures, right? Now, our land is a land that floweth with milk and honey. Okay. Now, is that literal? Can you go actually to the land of Israel, and it's an actual land that flows with milk and honey? So you have a land that flows with milk and honey. You got a bottomless pit. It's parabolic. Okay, this is Deuteronomy chapter 8. Let's see. Right. I will read 8. Let me just go to another precept for sake of time. All right, because Deuteronomy 8 mainly goes into more of the literal things, resources in the land. Right. But I'll just get this for sake of time. Exodus chapter 33 and 3. Unto a land flowing with milk and honey. For I will not go up in the midst of thee, for thou art a stiff-necked people, lest I consume thee in the way. So the land for the sons of God is a pit that flows with milk and honey. Again, it's not actual milk and honey. There's no, okay, wow, look at that Jordan River. It turns into milk in a time of the harvest. Okay, then there's honey that, no, man. It's speaking about what? That is a land ordained by God of righteousness. And milk and honey is what? Wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. Milk are the simple things of this truth, the principal things. The first oracles of God, right? The law of repentance, understanding your heritage, All of that is the milk, who the nations are. And the honey is also wisdom, knowledge, and understanding, who the Gentiles are, maybe certain prophecies, right? You might go into maps and things like that. So that's the milk and honey. It's truth, wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. It is the house of God. It is the gate of heaven, right? That's on one spectrum. Then you have the bottomless pit. Okay. So let's go to Genesis chapter, I believe that's 28. Okay, let's go to Genesis chapter 28 and verse 16, speaking about the land that floweth with milk and honey. And Jacob awaked out of his sleep, and he said, surely Yahweh is in this place, and I knew it not. Right? So the Most High's headquarters is the land of Israel. And he was afraid and said, how dreadful is this place? This is none other but the house of God, and this is the gate of heaven. So the land of Israel is the house of God, the gate of heaven, where the angels ascend and descend on. There's milk and honey and truth and the spirit of righteousness in that land. A pit that flows with milk and honey. Or on the contrary, Europe, pull up the map of Europe again. This is a land called the bottomless pit. How come Europe is not a land that flows with milk and honey? How come, the Most High didn't describe Europe as the house of God and the gate of heaven? Why is it likened to a bottomless pit? What are the attributes of a pit? First of all, a pit, let's go into that word. Okay. A pit is a hole in the earth. Now, people would dig pits and it would usually hold water, right? It's likened to a well or a cistern, it would hold water. But if you have a pit with no water, right, and it's bottomless, it's nothing but darkness, death, lack of bread, lack of water. It represents a land of evil and sin. But it's parabolically talking of the land of Europe, because that's where the Edomites are, right? That's Rome, right? Modern day Rome. Okay, so let's go into this word pit, right? It's not talking about an actual furnace of hell, and you got this man, he's digging up this pit, and all types of madness, man. That's why we have to stop with the Christianity, right? Salaki, bear with me. Okay. Right? Hold on, bear with me. Right? We have to stop with the Christianity and come back to Yahweh B'Shem Yahushua. Here's that word pit, right? A well. Okay. The pit of the abyss. Now, Esau always throwing his little touch on that. Huh? The pit of the abyss, because the netherworld is thought to increase in size the further it extends from the surface of the earth, and so resemble a cistern, the orifice of which is narrow. Right? There's no account of the netherworld increasing. All it is speaking about a land of darkness and confusion. Okay? A land of darkness and confusion. A hole dug in the ground, dug for holding water. A cistern or a well. But if you're in a bottomless pit, you're in a constant state of darkness and famine. That's what the Lord said. A whore is likened to a deep ditch. Right? Proverbs 23 and 27. See that? For a whore is a deep ditch, and a strange woman is a narrow pit. So that's like Europe, man. This is like actual women and philosophies. Because if you're dealing with these philosophies of Esau, there's no hope. There's no food. There's no bread. There's no living water. There's no light. There's no way out. You're in this bottomless, narrow pit of affliction and hell. And pit is hell too, because hell is the grave. So it was parabolically speaking about a bottomless pit or a grave or a place with no water, a place of darkness. Right? The Lord calls America the shadow of death. Right? Let's go to Psalms 23. So you see how the Most High uses metaphoric names to describe lands. There's a land called the land of shadow of death. There's a land called the land that flows with milk and honey, and there's a land called a bottomless pit, right? You got all these different lands with different characteristics. Psalms chapter 23 and verse 4. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me. Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. So the valley of the shadow of death is America, right? And it has similar characteristics to a bottomless pit, but they're nothing like the land that flows with milk and honey. Let's get another precept for the pit, right? Let's go to the book of, I had a few precepts written down. Let's go to Psalms 88. Okay, let's go to Psalms chapter 88. So the bottomless pit is talking about Europe, but we're going through the precepts to prove it. I am counted with them that go down into the pit. Actually, I'm going to start at 3. My soul is full of troubles, and my life draweth nigh into the grave. I am counted with them that go down into the pit. I am a man that hath no strength. The pit is what? Darkness, the grave, no water, no truth. Free among the dead, like the slain that lie in the grave, whom thou rememberest no more, and they are cut off from thy hand. Thou hast laid me in the lowest pit, in darkness, in the deeps. So the lowest pit, the bottomless pit, is full of darkness. The depths of darkness, sin, sorcery, witchcraft, madness, lust, all of that is the pit. Okay? Now, the Lord even said that we're in the pit in Zechariah 9. Right? Let's get maybe one more in the pit. Zechariah chapter 9 and verse 11. As for thee also, by the blood of thy covenant, I have sent forth thy prisoners out of the pit wherein is no water. Because a pit is supposed to have water. You dig it to hold water, to make a well. You know? We're in the pit wherein there is no water, which is this captivity, the spiritual grave, the spiritual bondage. And there's no water here. It's a thirsty land, you know? And you get slain with thirst if you're thrown into a bottomless pit. So that's why they're likened unto a bottomless pit. Go to Revelation chapter 17. Revelation chapter 17 and verse 8. Right? The beast that thou sawest was and is not, and shall ascend out of the bottomless pit and go into perdition. And they that dwell on the earth shall wonder, whose names were not written in the book of life from the foundation of the world, when they behold the beast that was and is not, and yet is. So the beast that was and is not is speaking about Rome. They came out of the bottomless pit. They came out because they were living in there. They live in the depths of darkness and sin. They live in witchcraft and sorcery. You know, a lot of the Rothschilds, they have banks and their headquarters is in England. London is an actual city-state, and a lot of policies in America came out of England, man. So they're really the headquarters of all wickedness. That's why Babylon the Great, they came out of the bottomless pit. They're the 8th that came up to 7. So you got ears to hear. See if I can find that. Rothschild banks in London. So they're part of this thing, huh? And they're the ones that enforce illuministic agendas on the earth. That the Rothschild banking family of England. And they're the wicked that run the earth. You think it's a coincidence that their headquarters is in a bottomless pit, man? Where all types of witchcraft and wars and sorcery and government bonds and loans and madness happens? No, man. Right? You got a lot of wickedness in Europe, man. You got CERN going on. You got these people in CERN saying they're talking to demons. They're trying to bring demons from other realms. Right? You have an elite illuministic royalty there, the so-called queen. There's a lot of madness in Europe, man. A lot of bloodshed, slavery that was there, robbery, murder in Europe. So no doubt it's the bottomless pit. right? And the beast, it came out of it. The beast that thou sawest was and is not, and shall go into perdition. It's like it shall ascend out of the bottomless pit and go into perdition. And they on the earth shall wonder, whose names were not written in the book of life from the foundation of the world, when they behold the beast that was and is not and yet is. Right? So this beast is really speaking about Rome, but it's really going into America. Because why would the Most High say this? Why would he say this beast was and is not and yet is? How can you used to be here, but you're still here at the same time? Because Rome, they fell in 476 AD, the Western Roman Empire. But yet is, because they're still here to this day. As America. Okay? As NATO in the EU. But the point is, this beast came out of the bottomless pit because America came out of Europe. Okay? Now, America ultimately came out of England. That's why we read in Daniel, the 7th chapter, that 3 horns fell by America: Spain, France, and England. So if America came out of the bottomless pit, it shows that they came out of Europe. I'm going to jump down to verse 11. Revelation chapter 17 and 11. And the beast that was and is not, even he is the 8th, and is of the 7, and goeth into perdition. So America is the 8th beast, and they came out of the 7 heads and the 10 horns. You read about this beast in Revelation 13. The feet of the bear is Russia. The mouth of the lion is England, you know. So America came out of Rome. They came out of the 7 heads: Greece, Rome, Spain, France, Germany, Russia, and Great Britain. Okay? But they are the 8th head that came out of the bottomless pit. They came out of what? Out of Europe. So now we know what the bottomless pit is and what it really represents. It's not an actual pit of hell, right? And somebody actually chained up with a key in his hand. Stop believing Christianity and mythology, man. This has nothing to do with the Bible at all, but it has everything to do with World War III and Europe being involved. Okay? Let's get one more in the bottomless pit, just for sake of precepts, right? Revelation chapter 11 and verse 7. And when they shall have finished their testimony, the beast that ascendeth out of the bottomless pit shall make war against them and shall overcome them and kill them. I mean, to put us in slavery, kill us spiritually, kill us physically, give us Christianity, philosophies. Let's talk about America. And their dead bodies shall lie in the street of the great city, which spiritually is called Sodom and Egypt, where also our Lord was crucified. So that's speaking about what America has done to us through their murder and philosophies and religion and politics. Let's go back to Revelation chapter 9 and 1. And the 5th angel sounded, and I saw a star fall from heaven into the earth, meaning the missiles, right? They hit in Europe. They hit the bottomless pit. And to him was given the key of the bottomless pit. Because now Europe and NATO, they're going to get involved. And he opened the bottomless pit. And there arose a smoke out of the pit, as the smoke of a great furnace. And the sun and the air were darkened by reason of the smoke of the pit, right? Because once these, again, you have to take your mind out of fables and Christianity and just think about the prophecy. It's speaking about the bombs hitting Europe. And that's why the smoke is going up as the smoke of a great furnace. What else is going to make the smoke of the great furnace come up, huh? And darken the air and the sun, right? The bombs when they drop. That's why when you go to, let's go to Genesis. Was that 19? About Sodom and Gomorrah. What happened when the Lord rained fire and brimstone on Sodom and Gomorrah? Genesis chapter 19 and verse 28. And he looked toward Sodom and Gomorrah and toward all the land of the plain, and beheld, and lo, the smoke of the country went up as the smoke of a furnace. That's why it's important to go through the precepts. There are precepts for the pit, There are precepts for bottomless. There are precepts for the smoke coming up, because that's when fire rains from heaven, hits land, and then the smoke goes up. And that's what happened when the Lord rained fire and brimstone. So when the missiles start to hit Europe, that same effect is going to happen, huh? Right? Let's get another precept on the smoke of the furnace ascending up. Right? Let's go to Ecclesiasticus. Actually, let's go back to second entrance. That's what I want. Right? Let's get another precept on the stars hitting the earth and the smoke going up. Second Ezra chapter 15 and 44 again. Right? We read this one before. But it shows how when the stars hit the earth, the smoke goes up because they're destroyed by thermonuclear fire. When you see a mushroom cloud, that's the smoke going up. They shall come to her and besiege her, the star, meaning the missiles, and all wrath shall they pour out upon her. Then shall the dust and smoke go up unto heaven. That's that smoke of a furnace. And all they that be about her shall bewail her. So anytime you see smoke going up as a smoke of a furnace, it's a result of fire. And right now we're reading about fire coming from the nuclear bombs. Let's go to Exodus 19, verse 18. Exodus chapter 19 and verse 18. Right? Precept upon precept. And Mount Sinai was altogether on the smoke, because the Lord descended upon it in fire, and the smoke thereof ascended as the smoke of a furnace, and the whole mount quaked greatly. So when that fire came down, the Lord came in that chariot, and that fire came down from the chariot, and it caused the smoke to arise as the smoke of a furnace. So to show you what John saw, he saw a missile hitting Europe. He saw the effects of European cities being destroyed by the missiles, and he saw that smoke coming up out the sky. That's what he saw. There's nothing mythological about it, right? When you look up, let's see if we could find, let's see, cities. I think in Kuwait, right? When they invaded, see if we can get some images. We'll do Kuwait, maybe Japan. Let's see, maybe we'll do smoke. See that? And they show you see stuff like this all the time, huh? This is the smoke of a furnace. When the bombs begin to hit and the sun and the air were darkened by reason of the missiles, man. This is what he saw. This is what Europe is going to look like when the missiles begin to hit. It's going to be smoke ascending when the bombs begin to drop. So John saw the bottomless pit getting hit by missiles, man, and that smoke of a furnace ascending up unto heaven. Okay, let's pull up a see if we can get another one. Let's pull up mushroom cloud. Right? So we got mushroom clouds. Again, these are the effects of bombs. We get something. These pictures used to be a little bit more. Oh, I don't want Vegas. I don't want that. There we go. This is what you want right here. This is what you want. Right? The sun and the air darkened by reason of the smoke. Right? That came from the pit, man. Now the world really hasn't seen what a city looks like after nuclear destruction or after bombs begin to drop, but John actually saw it. Cities hit by missiles. Let's see. See, it's hard to really find it because a lot of this stuff really hasn't happened yet, right? Let's see if we can get some cities. All right, so here you have it, right? Like we went into earlier. Yeah, some of it happened, but John saw it on a massive level. Okay, see that? Air assault. Ukraine says 30 dead after an air assault. So John saw an air assault, man. See that? And when you have a whole bunch of that, the air gets dark, man. Right? Because that all of that smoke is in the air. All of that nuclear fallout. See that? The sun and the air were darkened by reason of the smoke. Well, let's go back to this in Revelation 9, right? Revelation chapter 9 and 3. And there came out of the smoke locusts upon the earth, and unto them was given power as the scorpions of the earth have power. Right? And leave it up to Esau. Type in, if you go and you type in locust, let's see, Revelation, let's see, locust coming out earth, Revelation. Let's see what the so-called white man has. Again, look at this madness. Is this going to happen? Look at this. Right? This is madness, man. The Most High did not create something that looks so just out of order, man. Just out of order. You know? Look at this. Right? Where is this at in the scriptures, man? Right? Locusts with hair like woman, damn half horse, you know? Look at this. They got the smoke out the pit. Really, man, what John, what he saw was the war. Look at this. Now it's getting ridiculous. Let's see. War helicopters after. Right. And remember, John, he saw a movie, he saw like something like a movie, man. Right? He saw somewhat of like war like a movie, man. So he saw war helicopters and aerial vehicles. Just something that kind of what he saw. So he saw bombs hitting, the smoke coming up, and he saw retaliation from Europe, and he saw them getting involved in World War III. Right? That's what he saw. He didn't see actual locusts coming out of the earth, man, with hair like women. Right? I mean, that's just ridiculous, man. Remember, this is another good picture. He saw the destruction when the bombs hit. Then he saw war coming from Europe, and he likens these war helicopters to locusts. Okay, so let's go back to this and we'll prove that, right? Revelation 9 and 3. And there came out of the smoke locusts upon the earth, and unto them was given power as the scorpions of the earth have power. Because actual locusts, they can't poison you or sting you or kill you, but scorpions can. So these aren't normal locusts. All right, these are not normal locusts. These locusts are talking about war helicopters of World War III. Right? Those vehicles. How do you know that these aren't actual locusts? Let's jump down. Revelation, and these are going to be used in World War III, man. Once NATO and the EU really get active, these locusts will come out. Revelation chapter 9 and 11. This is how you know they aren't actual locusts. And they had a king over them, which is the angel of the bottomless pit, whose name in the Hebrew tongue is Abaddon, but in the Greek tongue hath this name Apollyon. So do locusts have and we're going to break this down later, but do locusts have an actual king? No, man. Right? Let's go to Proverbs chapter 30. When did you have one? You ever see a swarm of locusts and one head locust? He's telling all the locusts, let's go, let's go, let's go. No, man, they move in the army in bands, like the scripture said. I believe that's Proverbs, like that's 30. Right? That's what I want. Proverbs 30 and 27. Right? Proverbs chapter 30 and 27. The locusts have no king, yet go they forth all of them by bands. Right? So they don't have a king to give them orders, but they're an order within themselves. Right? That's in their wisdom, and they're strong. Nevertheless, we know that Revelation cannot be talking about actual locusts, because these locusts have a king. So these aren't literal locusts, man. These are, again, speaking about the vehicles in World War III. That's what we read that the Lord deals with similitudes. Okay, we're about to go into a great similitude. Let's go to the book of Judges, chapter 7. Right? So they're likened unto an army, all right? An army of aerial vehicles, chiefly your war helicopters. Judges of NATO, right, in the EU. Judges chapter 7 and 12. And the Midianites and the Amalekites and all the children of the east lay along in the valley like grasshoppers for multitude. and their camels were without number as the sand by the seaside for multitude. So even the armies of men are likened unto grasshoppers and locusts. Okay, let's pull this up. This word grasshopper, when you go into it, right, it says a kind of locust, a locust swarm. So a massive army is likened unto a locust, right? That's even in the book of Judges, the 7th chapter, the army that Gideon had to eradicate off the earth. Another precept, Joel chapter 1 and verse 3, right? Joel 1 and 3. Tell ye your children of it, and let your children tell their children, and their children another generation. That which the palmer worm hath left, hath the locust eaten, and that which the locust hath left, hath the cankerworm eaten, and that which the cankerworm hath left, hath the caterpillar eaten. Right? What is that talking about? It's talking about these nations. It's one nation after another that destroys us, man. First, you had the Assyrians. Then you had the Babylonians. Then you had the Persians. Then you had the Greeks. Then you had the Romans. Then you got the Hamites. And you got the Ishmaelites. Now you got the Edomites. Right? The palmer worm. Then the locust. Then the cankerworm. Then the caterpillar. We, as the olive tree of the Most High, we're always being devoured by these beasts that eat up our leaves, man. They eat up our understanding. They wipe us bare of truth, knowledge, and understanding, and wisdom and might. That's why when men are trees and the nations are coming in like locusts, they're devouring our leaves, right? They're devouring our branches, and they eat up every green thing, and they literally destroy men, because men are leaves. It's like your men are grass, men are trees. So these locusts are sent to kill man. They're the palmer worm. They're the locust, right? So Revelation 9 is not some mythical locust, man. It's a concept that's been used all throughout the Old Testament of armies and nations being likened unto locusts. Now let's jump down. Let's go to Revelation. It's like your Joel, the 2nd chapter. All right, let's go to Joel chapter 2. Joel chapter 2 and 25. And I will restore to you the years that the locusts have eaten, the cankerworm, and the caterpillar, and the palmer worm, my great army which I sent among you. See that? So the Lord is going to send an army, the chariots and the angels of Yahweh Bashmi Awashai, to destroy the caterpillar and the cankerworm and the locust, that we may eat and be satisfied, and that we may not be taken out the earth. Right? Even in Jeremiah, the Lord likens men into caterpillars. All right. He said he was sent against them, the caterpillar, man. Right? Jeremiah. It's in Jeremiah. Right? Let me get this. I believe that's Jeremiah chapter 51. I probably may have spoke it. Right? Jeremiah chapter 50. Right, and verse 27. Set ye up a standard in the land, blow the trumpet among the nations, prepare the nations against her, call together against her the kingdoms of Ararat, Mini, and Ashkenaz, appoint a captain against her, cause the horses to come up as the rough caterpillars. Right, because when you have that infestation and a swarm of locusts, caterpillars, grasshoppers, they're likened unto an army. The Lord likens the heathen armies that would destroy America as rough caterpillars coming in, right? So when you go back to Revelation 9, again, these locusts aren't literal locusts, right? It's speaking about an army, a fleet, an aerial fleet, right, of war helicopters and vehicles of NATO and the EU, okay, because they're coming out the bottomless pit. Let's read this again. Revelation chapter 9 and verse 3. And there came out of the smoke locusts upon the earth, and unto them was given power as the scorpions of the earth have power. And it was commanded them that they should not hurt the grass of the earth, neither any green thing, neither any tree. Right? That's where I'm at with time. But only those men which have not the seal of God in their foreheads. So you know that these aren't actual locusts, because Locusts do eat grass and green things and trees, right? But these locusts are different, man. Right? These locusts, they don't eat the green things, man. Let's go to Exodus chapter 10. Right? Let's go to Exodus chapter 10. Exodus chapter 10 and verse, I'll start at, see what I want to get into. 15. Here's the locust. For they covered the face of the whole earth. This is the actual locust in Egypt, so that the land was darkened. And they did eat every herb of the land, and all the fruit of the trees which the hail had left. And there remained not any green thing in the trees, or in the herb of the field through all the land of Egypt. So the locusts devoured all of the grass, all of the green things, all of the herbs. These locusts are going to devour all of the green things, all of the trees, and all of the herbs. They're going to kill every man except the men who have the seal of God in their foreheads, right? Except the elect. So when war kicks off, when these aerial vehicles, like we read in 2nd Ezra the 15th chapter, they're going to start bombing the earth, and these missiles launching. A lot of people are going to die, man. Except the men that have the seal of God in their foreheads. That's why it reads, and it was commanded them that they should not hurt the grass of the earth, neither any green thing, neither any tree, but only those men, because men are trees, men are grass. Only those men which have not the seal of God in their forehead. So these locusts are going to kill all of the green things and all of the trees and all of the leaves. They're going to wipe this thing out like ancient Egypt. They're going to destroy men. When these bombs again hit the earth, we read billions of people are going to die. They're going to die. Except the men that have the seal of God in their foreheads. Now, how do you know man is grass? Right? Because you can say, well, no, it's talking about actual grass. Not actual grass. This is Isaiah chapter 40 and verse 7. Remember, the Most High deals with similitudes. Isaiah chapter 40 and 6. The voice said, cry. And he said, what shall I cry? All flesh is grass, and the goodliness thereof is as the flower of the field. The grass withereth, the flower fadeth, because the spirit of Yahweh bloweth upon it. Surely the people is grass. People are waters. People are nations are mountains. They're trees, but people are also grass. Men are likened unto grass due to the short time that they live on the earth. Right? Let's go to James chapter 1 and verse 10. James chapter 1 and verse 10. But the rich, and that he is made low, because as the flower of the grass, he shall what? He shall pass away. For the sun is no sooner risen with a burning heat, but it withereth the grass, because the fire is going to burn up man, and the flower thereof falleth, and the grace of the fashion of it perisheth. So also shall the rich man fade away in his ways. So the rich man is likened unto grass that fades away in his ways. Men are grass, men are trees. Classic. Mark chapter 8 and verse 24. And he looked up and said, I see men as trees walking. I see men as trees walking. Men are trees, parabolically speaking. Okay. Matthew, the 3rd chapter. We flying through these precepts, right? Matthew chapter 3 and verse 10. And now also the axe is laid unto the root of the trees. Therefore, every tree which bringeth not forth good fruit is hewn down and cast into the fire, which means judgment is coming. When the axe is laid to the root of the trees, it's like the Most High about to start cutting men down. And if you're not bringing forth good fruit, you're going to be destroyed, man. Right? Or you're going to be destroyed by these locusts, man, that are coming on the earth. And you don't want to be cut down by these locusts, man, that are dropping bombs and destroying man. You know, now this is after the 3rd trumpet. Certain men, they won't be destroyed because they have the seal of God in their foreheads. Is that an actual seal? Right? If we go into this word seal, and I'm not going to do it, right, for sake of time, And I went into it literally, and I went into the word in the Greek. Okay, we see that there's a certain men, they're gonna have a seal in their forehead, because these men and the Most High is gonna take an angel and open up their forehead and put a seal in their forehead, right? And these men, no, man, right? Just stop the madness, right? Let's go to this word seal, right? Let's go into this word seal. It's fragus, and it means a seal, an inscription, impression made by a seal, right? The name of the Most High and Hamashiach stamped upon their foreheads. It is not a literal stamp, it's a spiritual stamp. A spiritual stamp, spiritual mark in the foreheads of the elect, right? But there are certain men that are spiritually sealed, right? Ephesians chapter 1 and verse, let's see, 13. That's what I want. Ephesians chapter 1 and 13, a precept for being sealed. And whom ye also trusted, after that ye heard the word of truth, the gospel of your salvation, and whom also after that ye believed, ye were sealed with that Holy Spirit of promise. So how it works is you hear the word of the Most High, you believe in the word of the Most High, you were chosen to believe in the word of the Most High, and once your time comes to believe in the Most High, the angel seals you spiritually, and your name is sealed in the book of life, and you're sealed with the Holy Spirit of promise, right? And you receive all of the promises that Yahweh Basham Rashai has given you. So that's the sealing right there. You're sealed with the Holy Spirit of promise. You were elected from the foundation of the world to receive every promise of immortality and salvation, right? And those men that are sealed will not be destroyed in World War III. Those men will survive, right? Revelation chapter 9 and verse 4 one more time. And it was commanded them, meaning the locusts, that they should not hurt the grass of the earth, neither any green thing, neither any tree, but only those men which have not the seal of the Most High in their foreheads. And to them it was given that they should not kill them, but that they should be tormented 5 months. And their torment was as the torment of a scorpion when he striketh the man. Now, this is all parabolic, right? It's not going to be little, just stinging you for eternity. You got little, where's that picture at? Where's this madness at? Hold on. Where's that? Here you go, right? This is what they want you to think. They're actually tormenting them with little stings for 5 months. January, February, March, April, May. Whew, 5 months. I can't wait till June. June, no more torment from the locusts. It's been 5 months. It's not literal. Okay, it's not talking about January through damn June. You know. Now, what it says, unto them it was given that they should not kill them, but that they should be tormented 5 months. In order to understand that verse, you got to know what the 5 months represent. 5 is not a number that should be taken literal in this prophecy. 5 is a number that means an indefinite amount. Okay, now how do you know that? Through the precepts. Everything we've been going through have been justified through the precepts. This is Matthew chapter 25 and verse 1. Let's deal with that number 5, because the number 7 means something, the number 6, the number 3, the number 4, the number 8. These numbers have meanings in the Bible. Matthew chapter 25 and verse 1. Then shall the kingdom of heaven be likened unto 10 virgins, which took their lamps and went forth to meet the bridegroom. And 5 of them were wise, and 5 were foolish. Are there actual just 10 servants out there teaching this word, which are the virgins? No, man. It represents all of the Israelites that are doing this work. But some of these men, they have the oil. Some of these men don't have the oil. The sum are the 5. So 5 is not a complete amount. It just means some or a portion. It's an indefinite amount. It's no set number. Okay, just like 10 is no set number. 10 just means all. 5 is just a portion of all. All right. Let's get another precept dealing with the number 5. Okay, let's go to Isaiah chapter Otherwise, brothers say it was just 5 years. It's 19, 19, 19. There's no scriptures on that. It's not what the number 5 represents, man. All right, you have to be justified by Yahweh Bashmiel Shai. Isaiah chapter 19 and verse 18. And that day shall 5 cities in the land of Egypt speak the language of Canaan and swear to the Lord of hosts. One shall be called the city of destruction. Now, there are actual 5 cities, DC, Philly, Chicago, Detroit, Miami. No, it's just speaking about the people. There's a certain portion of Israelites that are going to repent, come back to Yahweh Bashmiel Shai, learn the law, statutes, and the commandments, learn the name of the Most High, learn the Hebrew, repent, confess the name of the Lord with their mouth. 5 of them, a portion of them, because everybody in the land of Egypt is not going to repent. Where is that scripture? Where all of the Israelites in America are going to repent and come back to the Lord. No, only 5 of them are. Only 5 cities. Only a certain portion. Only a remnant. 5 are going to speak the language of Canaan, and 5 are going to keep speaking the language of Egypt, which are the philosophies and the religions and the ways of this world. That's the language of Egypt. Sin and lust and madness. The language of Canaan is repentance, salvation, prophecy, and the words of eternal life. So here you have the number 5 being used in the same connotation as a witness of Matthew 25 and as a witness of Revelation 9 that shows it doesn't mean actual 5, just means a certain portion, right? An indefinite amount. So the 5 months of torment means that this war is going to be happening for a period of time. You're not going to have war happen for 10 months, because if it was 10 months, it would be eternity, right? It would be forever if it was 10 months or 7 months. But 5 months means for a certain portion until Yahweh Shai returns. Okay, it's not, again, don't think of this. Get this out of you. Get this madness out of your mind, man. Look at this. This is just ridiculous. But this is what happens when you go to his schools, the so-called white man schools. Okay, class, we're going to learn about the locusts today. And he writes down, he draws. Can anybody draw this? You got people going on the damn board trying to draw and figure this thing out. And, right? No, I mean, it's speaking about war, right? Like we keep going into. It says, and their torment, back in Revelation 9 and 5, was as the torment of a scorpion when he striketh the man. Right, because they're going to shoot out missiles. They're going to shoot out what they call them, ballistic missiles, man. The Lord calls them flying swords. So these locusts, they'll fly and they can kill you, man. Right? Inflict pain on you. That's why when you go, let me pull this up. I had a video. Where is it at? Oh man, I still had a lot I had to get into. Where is this at? I had the locusts. All right, bear with me. So these are your locusts, right? These are the locusts that John saw, right? And these things could get down, man. These Apache fleet ships. I thought I had a video on it. Okay, that's not it. Cutting jobs. Okay, let me see if I can pull this up. Maybe this was it. Okay, this was one, right? Inside NATO's Apache's helicopter fleet. And these things get down, man. Right? So let me pull up the audio. Right? I'm getting pressed for time, but that's okay. All right, let me play the audio for that. I believe this is it. Okay, now check this out.
Part flying tank. The Apache's job is to fly low and parts.
Now when you look at it, it actually looks like a locust, right? When you look at it, and I'm gonna pull up some more pictures, right? But it looks like a locust.
Part flying tank. The Apache's job is to.
Now, John can't describe a helicopter again, like he can't describe a missile, but it sounded like a locust. He saw a man's face in it. He saw shooting stuff out the back, the people shooting the guns and launching the missiles out. Huh? So that's why he said it had a tail like a scorpion. You see the tail right there? That's like a scorpion. A scorpion has that elongated tail that kind of curves. So John was on fire, man. He said, this thing is sound like horses run into battle. I see a man's face in it. It's flying high. There's a swarm of them. They make it sound like locust wings. It has a tail like a scorpion. They tormented men. The war didn't last forever. I see it for a period of time, right? So John was getting down, man. You know, a lot of people would have, what they say, fumbled. They would have fumbled the bag trying to describe what happened, man. Hey, but John did his thing. God praise to the Most High. So let's play this.
Fly low and fast, sneak behind enemy lines, and use a combination of advanced sensors and bruising fire.
Hold on, let me let this thing. See, now they got this thing kind of buffering a little bit. Right? See if I can go back.
Part scout,
Hold on.
part flying tank. The Apache's job is to fly low and fast, sneak behind enemy lines, and use a combination of advanced.
Right, bear with me. So now Satan cometh. Oh, there you have the devil. All right, here you have it.
Part scout, part flying tank. The Apache's job is to fly low and fast, sneak behind enemy lines, and use a combination of advanced sensors and bruising firepower to foil attacks before they happen. Meet the U.S. Army's tank hunters in Europe. The Apache helicopters based in Germany are on a mission to train alongside NATO's allies, deter aggression, and, if necessary.
So that looks like a locust, man. Again, you gotta picture John being on the land, him seeing these flying things in the air. He's like, that's a locust right there. What is that? So he has to describe it, man. Don't expect him to say an F-16 NATO Apache helicopter fleet. A fleet is an army. That's where they move like horses, like an army of men, you know?
Defend the alliance against attack. Heavily armed, but thinly armored, the Apache must fly low and fast.
See that? So how does that not look like a locust? If you've ever seen actual locusts, or you can look it up, you can go online, you can type in a swarm of locusts, you can put up a farmer dealing with locusts, you could deal with all of that, and you're going to say, damn, okay, yeah, I see what John saw. Right? They got the wings. Think about a locust when he spread his wings and when he's flying, man, coming from a distance. So, I mean, John, and they got his legs. You see the little legs? Now, remember, a lot of inventions of the so-called white man, they come from nature. Right? Remember that. They come from nature. Okay, they come from horses and eagles, his jets, and, you know, his tanks come from elephants. His submarines come from whales and sharks and dolphins, right? But this is the exact same thing. This is what he saw. The NATO Apache helicopter fleet of the Bottomless Pit, the European Aerial Allied Command is what they call them, right? NATO's Air Force is the Allied Air Command.
Using speed and surprise to gain the upper hand. This takes a very special kind.
See that? And when we read on, you'll read about the face of a man, because he saw the man's face from what they call the cockpit. And it said they had hair like a woman, which is that propeller. It sound like many horses run into battle because of their engines and the propeller, because that helicopter is loud, man. And it had a tail like a scorpion, which is that back part. We're going to read about all of that. But right now, I'm just giving you the visual, because we're actually catching up in the times to see what John saw. See, they didn't see this back in the day because the technology wasn't around. They didn't know about the intercontinental ballistic missiles or the Apache air fleet, because the technology and time, see, this thing has to rise like water, right? Yahweh Bashmi Abishai said in Ezekiel 47 that the water was from the ankles all the way up into waters that couldn't be swimmed in, man. You know? So as technology increases and knowledge increases, and many shall run to and fro pursuing the Daniel, the more understanding is going to be given about what our forefathers saw. That's why we went into the clouds, and they call them cloud surfing. They shoot down stars, and all of these aerial vehicles and technology was seen by John. But he described, again, he described futuristic technology with an ancient mind.
Kind of pilot.
Everyone's always challenging each other to be better pilots. A little bit contentious. It can be a little bit aggressive in how we and how we engage with and talk to each other. But at the end of the day, we're all there for the same mission. We're all there.
So when you read the count, we're going to show it again. They say he had a crown on his head, which is his helmet, that gold-looking helmet, right? And he had the face of a man. So John was able to kind of get up close, and he saw the cockpit, and he saw an Edomite inside of it, and he saw the helmet on their head, man. Their little apparatus they got
to accomplish that mission.
The Apache is a two-pilot job. The backseater flies the helicopter, while the front seater operates the Apache's weapon systems, including the 30mm.
That's that scorpion sting. Because out of the back of it, when he saw that, he saw the scorpion sting striking man and tormenting man. And that's coming from the back part. Because you got two people that fly this thing. You got one guy, he's actually doing he's flying in the air. And you got one guy, he represents the scorpion part. And he's stinging people, right, with the damn bullets, man. Now, I know there's better terms you can use, but hey, he's stinging the people, man. They feeling it. And they eating up the grass.
While the front seater operates the Apache's weapon systems, including the 30mm chain gun, which the pilot can aim just by turning their head. The Apache may be a flying arsenal, but it's equally valuable as a scout.
See that? That's the locust.
The radar dome is capable of detecting ground targets and relaying that information to other units. The 12th Combat Aviation Brigade.
And they eat up grass, man, because men are on the earth walking around and they send that fire out and they burn you up. They will eat up grass. They will eat up man. And man will wither away when they run across these locusts.
It serves as a crucial part of NATO's response forces. To stay sharp, they participate in several multinational exercises every year.
We train with NATO forces, and we stand ready to respond to any threats to the NATO alliance.
Now you hear that? You can hear the sound of the locust wings.
And we stand ready to respond to any threats to the NATO alliance.
See that? So, this is what John saw, man, right? So we're going to get more, right? First, let me close that out. Pull this up through the spirit and power of Yahweh Shemel Shai, right? So let's go back to this. Revelation 9 real quick, right? Revelation chapter 9 and verse 5. And to them, it was given that they should not kill them. And that's all parabolic, but that they should be tormented 5 months. Meaning that the wars are going to happen for a period of time. And their torment was as the torment of a scorpion when he striketh the man. And that's from that back part. Again, because you look at this war helicopter. Not that. Hold on, where is it? All right, let's pull up NATO war helicopters. Look at the scorpion part. Right? When you see, this is a scorpion part. This little back part. Okay. So look at a scorpion. Let's pull this up and pull up a scorpion. Scorpions inflict pain. So you see that same shape on the locust. It's the same shape of the war helicopters of NATO. Right? So that's what he saw. The exact same thing. Let's read on. Revelation 9 and 6. And in those days shall men seek death and shall not find it, and shall desire to die, and death shall flee from them. Right? Because you're going to have nuclear fallout. People are going to be tormented. They're going to be blind. They're not going to have any food. They're not going to have any water. Right? People are going to be looking to die in the days of war. It's going to be a horrible time on earth. But death shall flee from them. Right? And the shapes of the locusts were like unto horses prepared unto battle. Because there's a fleet of them. They don't just go solo. There's a group of them, right? And on their heads were as it were crowns like gold. And their faces were the faces of men. That's why you see the face of a man inside the war helicopter, right? What they call a cockpit. So you can see the man inside of there. And a crown of gold is his helmet that he has on. Let's read on. Because the crown goes on top of your head. And they had hair as the hair of women, and their teeth were as the teeth of lions. Now the hair as the hair of women, Salakia, so that's that polyon, is what they call a propeller, right? I'm trying to get the best picture. I had a few of them. Zoom out a little bit. That's the hair-like woman. That's up top. All right. And it says they had teeth like the teeth of a lion. Because if you look up a war helicopter launching off a missile, it sounds like a lion roaring on the earth. That's exactly what it sounds like. Let's see if we can get a quick video on that. It sounds. Let's go to this. It actually sounds like a lion roaring on the earth, right? So check this out. And it sounds like that because it's a sounds like locusts, man. And horses running to battle. It sounds like a lion roar. Right? When you hear other videos of it, for sake of time, it sounds like a lion that roars when they launch off the missiles. You can hear it a little bit on there. All right. So let's go back. That's why I said they had the cheeks of teeth of a lion, because John actually saw them launching off those missiles and hitting those targets. All right. Let's go back to this. Same thing when you see an actual missile launch. It sounds like a lion. Revelation 9:9. And he had breastplates, as it were breastplates of iron, and the sound of their wings was as the sound of chariots of many horses running to battle. That's why the last video was loud as hell, man. Right? Because the sound of it was like many chariots running to battle. And the breastplates are their iron, right? It's like the metal that's on the helicopter, right? Some of them are made, they have steel, titanium, aluminum. That's the breastplates, the exterior of it. It's made of metal. And they had tails like unto scorpions, and their stings were in their tails, and their power was to torment men 5 months, right? Meaning they're going to be used for a brief period of time. And they had a king over them, which is the angel of the bottomless pit, whose name in the Hebrew tongue is Abaddon, but in the Greek tongue hath his name Apollyon. Now, there's no actual king of the bottomless pit. What did I have that? Right? There's no actual king of bottomless pit, king of hell, right? Again, don't leave it up to this, man. This is what they want you to follow. Here's the king of the bottomless pit. This dark gargoyle, damn demon, man. From the abyss of hell, right? The king of the bottomless pit, right? It says, and they had a king over them, which is the angel of the bottomless pit. So what it's saying is the Most High, it's not an actual man. The Most High has principalities. The Most High has different areas that are being influenced and controlled by the angels. Certain armies are led by angels and led by spirits. So the Lord has a particular angel and spirit that's going to be working on the minds of these NATO and European Union commanders to be involved in war. All right. And they're going to cause destruction on the earth once NATO gets involved in war. Right. That's why Abaddon and Apollyon, they mean destroyer or destruction. Okay. It's not an actual man. Okay. Now it's a principality. It's a spirit. Now, when you deal with that, you know that because that's something that's common throughout the scriptures. Let's go to Exodus chapter 23. right? About angels and spirits leading armies. For mine angel, Exodus 23 and 23, shall go before thee and bring thee unto the Amorites and the Hittites and the Perizzites and the Canaanites and the Hittites and the Jebusites, and I will cut them off. So our army was led by an angel. The physical army of Israel was led by a spirit, really the spirit of Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushua. That's what led our army. The Most High is our king, and he led us into battle, right? These nations, they don't have the Most High. They have demons and rage and wrath and envy, and these spirits work on their minds of violence and wrath to lead them into war. Okay, let's get another precept on that, right? That's where you have principalities, you have spiritual wickedness in high places, right? Let's go to the book of 2 Maccabees, chapter 10. Right, let's get a precept on that, right? Let's go to 2 Maccabees, the 10th chapter, right? 2 Maccabees, chapter 10 and verse 28, right? So you always have spirits that lead armies into battle. The battle happens, you see it on the physical realm, but it's happening also on a spiritual level. Let's read about that. Now the sun being newly risen, the 2 Maccabees 10 and 28, they join both together, the one part having, together with their virtue, their refuge also unto the Lord, for a pledge of their success and victory. So we had our faith in the Most High. The Lord led our battle. The other side, meaning Esau's side, making their rage leader of their battle. So what led them in that battle? A demon of rage. Not hope and success and virtue of Yahweh, but rage led that army. An actual demon, an actual spirit was working on the Edomites, and that was their reason to go to war against the sons of God, that old hatred. Huh? So rage could lead your battle, an angel could lead your battle. They work on the minds of men to do the bidding of the Creator. All right, let's get another account of that. Let's go to Judges, chapter 9. Okay, let's go to Judges, the 9th chapter. So there's no actual king sitting on an actual throne with a crown on his head, huh? Right? This is Judges chapter 9 and 23. Then the Most High sent an evil spirit between Abimelech and the men of Shechem, and the men of Shechem dealt treacherously with Abimelech. That war happened on a physical level, no doubt, but there are spirits that the Most High sent to lead these men to fight and kill one another. So what the Lord has is a death angel, right, in Revelation, the 9th chapter, that he has to work on what? On the minds of these Edomites. Even in Revelation 9, right? Let's jump down to Revelation 9 and 15. You have angels that do a lot of things. You have angels that are loosening other angels. You got angels bound up in the river Euphrates. Everything in war is going to happen by the angels, man. You got angels that have power over fire in Revelation 14. You got the angel of the waters in Revelation 16 and 5 on down. You got all of these spirits that are working, man. You got angels drawing up the river Euphrates. But all of a sudden in Revelation 9, it's an actual man just sitting down on the throne. Or some old Edomite, man. That's not what it's talking about. Now, the angels, they work on the minds of these men to do the bidding of the Most High, but it's not actual mortal flesh and blood. You know, Revelation 9 and 14. Saying to the 6th angel, which had the trumpet, loose the 4 angels which are bound in the great river Euphrates. And the 4 angels were loose, which were prepared for an hour and a day and a month and a year for the slated third part of men. So these angels are going to be working on the minds of these people to press the button to launch the missiles. And once the missiles kill people, that's the work of the angels, these death angels. So they're going to do that in Revelation 9 and 15. You got angels that's going to do that job. Then you're going to have angels, or one angel, that's going to lead the rest of these Edomites into war in Armageddon. And that's the angel of the bottomless pit. That's the demon working on these Edomites in Europe as they continually lead the war with Russia. There's an actual angel in Europe right now. Now, you're not going to see it on CNN. You're not going to see that on Fox News. They're not going to say, okay, here's the angel, okay, in Europe, and here's the angel working the demons coming from the beast, and a false prophet and a dragon to gather them to battle of the great day of God Almighty. Okay, here's an angel, and no, man. They can only see the things in this plane, in the terrestrial realm. But the things in the spiritual realm, they can't see. You know? But John was able to see the spiritual realm as well. All throughout Revelation. That's why the Lord said, we wrestle not against flesh and blood, right? But against principalities. Ephesians chapter 6 and verse 12. For we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, meaning spiritual regions, that the Most High gave certain angels and demons, right? Against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness in high places. So there are angels working behind the scenes and demons to influence man. When you read about Ahab, didn't the Lord say, who shall go up and persuade Ahab that he may fall at Ramoth of Gilead? In 1 Kings 22. So there was an angel working on them so Ahab could die in war. And a death angel killed him. The issues of death are of God. Don't get carnal. Be spiritual. There, and you'll receive some understanding. So this angel, he's really going to work on the minds of certain men. And the certain men are the men that are over the locusts. Now, which men are over the locusts? Let's pull this up. This right here is the leadership of NATO's Air Force, what they call the Allied Air Command. So that demon is going to influence the leadership of the Allied Air Command to be involved in World War III, the locusts. And here's their chief man. He's going to be these men are going to be worked on heavily to lead NATO and the EU into war with Russia and the kings of the East, man, and to turn against America. If these guys are still in power, this guy is the top guy, General James B. Hecker. He is the commander of all of NATO's locusts. So he's going to have a spirit on him, man. Right? And when it's time for war against the kings of the East and against Russia and China, if this guy's still in power, he's going to be worked on by the king of the king of the bottomless pit. He's going to be influenced by this angel, and this angel is going to convince him and be a spirit and make him lead them to destruction. Right? And he has guys over him, but he's the top guy over all of the Air Force. Right? General James B. Hecker. The Allied, is commander of the Allied Air Command in Germany. So there's no man above this man when it comes to controlling the locust. He controls the locust in Germany. He controls the locust in Africa. Wherever the locusts are at, he's over every locust. So the king of the bottomless pit is a spirit, but it's going to be working on the minds of him, like Satan. Who's the physical counterpart of the spiritual demon Satan? The so-called white man. He's playing out Satan on the earth. This guy's going to play out the spirit of the king of the bottomless pit on the earth. If this guy's in power, whoever's the top guy of NATO, that's who that spirit's going to be working on. But right now, it's this guy. He may not be that guy 5 years from now, but the locusts, these Air Force people, they need a commander. They need a general to tell them who to go to war against, who to shoot. And the orders come from this guy, right? And his counterparts, where's his counterparts? Right? Here's his counterparts. Deputy Commander Air Marshal Johnny Stringer, Chief of Staff Major General Gianluca Ecrelani. Right? So these European Union, when they go to war, they're going to have guys that give the orders. And these demons are going to work on their minds and make them think they're going to win World War III. Right? And this is their top guy, General James B. Hecker. But it's not an actual king it's talking about. It's spiritual, right? You have spiritual wickedness in high places, man. All right, let's go to Daniel 10th chapter. This is Daniel chapter 10 and 20, right? To prove that. Daniel chapter 10 and 20. Then said he, knowest thou wherefore I come unto thee? And now I will return to fight with the prince of Persia. And when I'm going forth, lo, the prince of Grecia shall come. So you had the angel fighting against the principalities that ruled over Persia, that ruled over Greece. There are principalities over America. There are spirits in the river Euphrates. Why do you think there's always war over there? There are spirits looming over Europe. One of the top spirits to be involved in World War III, the Most High calls them by name. And there are certain spirits that are called by name. It's not Asmodeus mentioned by name. It's not Satan mentioned by name. It's not Yahushua mentioned by name, Michael, Gabriel, Uriel. Certain spirits have proper names given to them by God because they have a heavy role in the prophecies from on high. And Abaddon is no different. Okay, so let's read about Abaddon again. Revelation chapter 9 and verse 11. And they had a king over them, which is the angel of the bottomless pit, whose name in the Hebrew tongue is Abaddon, but in the Greek tongue hath this name Apollyon. And that's a spirit working over the minds of NATO Allied Air Command to lead them to war with Russia and the kings of the East. General James Hecker and their air marshals are going to control the locusts to hurt men for 5 months. And that's why you have so much tension going on between NATO and the EU. You got the US, they cutting jobs to get ready for war. Russian troops will kill all French soldiers who come to Ukrainian soil. You got these spirits working behind the scenes. Don't wonder why you have so much tension, man. You got Polish president. They say Russia's going to target NATO in 2 to 3 years. Even Poland's getting into this thing. China said they're ready to intervene if NATO attacks. Russia prepared for military attacks with the West because there are spirits working on Gog and Magog and spirits working on the kings of the East. That's why you have so much tension between NATO and the EU. The Lord is working behind the scenes to magnify his name, to lead these nations into Armageddon and the Valley of Jehoshaphat in World War III. And we're praying that this terrorist attack was an inside job from the CIA or damn co-op government agencies, and they're found out and exposed. So Russia, or it's a false flag, and Russia uses that as propaganda to start war with the West, man. So you're living in beautiful times right now. You're living in beautiful times of war on the earth. So with that, I'm going to close up, giving, of course, all honor and all glory to Yahweh. Most High willing you are edified. Keep the Sabbath holy. No buying on the Sabbath, no selling, no sex on the Sabbath, no speaking your own words, doing your own pleasures. Stay rooted and grounded in the words of Yahweh Bashim Rashai, because we're living in the last days. But with that, Yahweh Bashim Rashai, Brakatham, Kwam Yasha. Shalom.